Here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
Looting through the rubble, leaving cities war-torn, still incurring more scorn. Ragged and I'm forlorn, trying to unlock this. Open with my lockpicks, punching with my second hand every time the clock ticks.
There you go.
All right, let's see how this works or not works. Da-da-da. Ah, didn't do the stinger. Wow. This today has just been the episode of non-stop technical issues. I also would not be surprised if I'm chipmunking right now. Just need to do a little bit more setup. It sucks because this is the episode I was so excited to do for the past week. And then... Okay, good. Insanity. Let me just quickly set this up here. I also just realized I forgot to set up the videos, so I'll add those during our little commercial break. Let's set this up real quick. And do this guy. Oh, man. Trying to stream at 7 to give myself some time. 2 hours late because of shenanigans. Alright, one more. I'm also a little nasally because I've been under the weather all week, literally. Like, there has been no consistent weather pattern in New York, New Jersey, anywhere for the lack of beans. So move this guy over. Alright, here we go. Alright. Hi, everybody out there. Welcome. If you're getting here late, welcome to the DCG 201 live stream. People refer to me as Sidepocket. I'm one of the two co-founders of DCG 201, formerly known as DEF CON 201 or DC 201. We are one of the many DEF CON groups that exist. Sorry, lost my spiel there for a second. There we go. We're one of the many DEF CON groups that exist across the United States and around the world. And if you want to know more about us, including when we're going to have meetings, I can tell you right now, it's going to be either in February or March at this point. We had a little bit of a delay in January, but January is when I get to finalize stuff and announce stuff in about 2 weeks, so I'm super excited. But if you want to know more about us, we have a couple of links that I'm going to post in chat. They're also linked in the description below. This is our blog, which I'm using until I can get the website kind of organized. We are on every form of social media imaginable. We're still on the sinking ship as Twitter. Some people call it X, but those people are blue check morons. We're also on the hostducks.social instance of Mastodon. We recently on Blue Sky. We're on a ton of different things. So if you want to know those and other alternate links to also watch these live streams as, plus we usually announce when we're streaming on those social media platforms, so you can click on our link tree. And even though we're going to be starting near the end of the month, we're going to be starting to use this a lot more, but we do have a Discord, and here's the Discord. So, what are we going to be doing today? Well, two things. First of all, we're still running the charity. Again, we're running the charity until March. I'll be speaking about that a little bit later, but basically, if you want to donate, I'm going to put the link in the chat where you can donate directly. If you're on Twitch, we have a donation bar, and if you're on your phone, there's a little QR code in the corner. It's all handled through Tiltify. It's a third party. We don't touch any of the money here at DCG 201. Even if we don't meet our goal, and we're literally about $35 to halfway to our goal, which I'm excited for because we've only been doing a couple of streams thanks to my scheduling. But even if we only do, let's say, $100, it's still going to all go to the charity I'm going to talk about later. And you can also donate with fiat or crypto. Basically, everybody wins, and it's for a really good cause. I'll explain about it in a bit, but that's where you can go donate. But let me explain this. So, what was really funny is all of December I kept thinking, oh, also, what am I doing the show? I should explain what the show is. This is how frazzled I am. I have 2 live stream shows on DCG 201, and one of them is called, I don't know where my hands are. One's here, and one's there. There we go. The Master of Unlocking, right here, where what I do is we look at physical security, mainly locks. Not the locks that you eat. Not the locks that, Jewish people eat of the Lebanon. These type of locks. This is a clear see-through lock, but basically we look at locks and other physical security things and how they work and the techniques that you can use to pick them open and bypass them and things like that. Ta-da! And all of December, I'm waiting for fuller paychecks to come in, which they will in next week for me. And I'm out of time and I'm out of money, so I kept thinking, okay, what the hell am I going to do? It's the new year, it's 2024. What am I doing for Master of Unlocking? What do I do? I've run out of ideas. I don't have the new shit's coming in, the new shit I need money for, and I won't have the time to get it. And then over the course of the remainder of December, people just kept donating and lending stuff to me with locks. So I actually have enough content until March to do this stuff. And yes, originally this episode was going to be a big, huge episode about the lockpicking lawyer drinking game. However, again, I had a schedule change, so I basically had to do the late January episode, the first one. Originally, I was going to be the 7th, but I decided to take the week off, so now it's on the 13th. Just for an overview, we will be back on the 28th. So it's going to be another weird month, unfortunately. But on the 28th, so it's Sunday, we're going to be back with the lockpicking lawyer drinking game. On the 20th and the 27th, that will be Crypto Barons. I'm going to make a post of that on all the social media stuff. But let's get to the meat and potatoes because I'm so excited about it. So, if you remember, a couple episodes ago, I did a holiday review guide, and we went over different companies and organizations and the different products they make. Basically, where do you buy, because people ask me this all the time, where do you buy all this lockpicking crap? And one of the groups I covered was Covert Instruments, which is kind of, they're the new kid on the block. They're new, they're sexy and young. They have really good advertisement videos that is kind of cool because now like companies like Sparrows have stepped up their game with advertising as well. So we have like actual commercials for shit and things like that. They're actively like using social media now instead of being fucking dinosaurs and sticking to like newsletters and smoke signals. And so, but people also had their criticisms and reservations. Some of it might just because people are old Crumb dungeons, but honestly, a part of it are some of them can be legit concerns. That's partly what we're going to be going through today, because I became a basic bitch. A really awesome friend of mine, recent friend. We met at Hack Manhattan, which is where I'm live streaming at. We've become really good friends. And they surprised me because they ordered a bunch of stuff from Covert Instruments. Because I said in the episode, when I review like products, like even products that I love, like at Sparrows doesn't give me shit to review. None of these lock companies or lock picking organizations, no one gives me shit. I've had people individually donate or give me stuff, like locks that they've owned and picks and stuff. Individually, and I'll mention that on air, but these lock companies, Covert Instruments, definitely doesn't send me anything to review. So what was so surprising was SuHacker out of nowhere said, hey, I finally got a Covert Companion by Covert Instruments, their flagship product, the basic bitch lockpicking, as our lockpickers call it, of their entire gear. And obviously, not only do I have to test and review this thing, because I've always wanted to test and review one of these things, but as you can see, one of the things about Covert Instruments is apparently they're like IKEA, in which no wonder why most of their stuff is cheap, even though this is like $90, because they basically give you a bunch of parts and you have to assemble it yourself. So now we finally, which is part of my goal for 2024, most of this live stream is categorized under making and crafting, which is the closest I can get to lockpicking, because there's no, except for kick.com, which is impressive, there is no like security section for live streaming. So making and crafting is usually the closest I get, and it's their devices, there's metalworking and stuff. I'm very nasally today. But this time we get to assemble something. So this will totally fit under making and crafting. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to assemble this Covert Companion. We're going to look at some short videos going over what it is. We're going to try to put this together. And we are going to, once we put it together, I'm going to test this out. And you're going to see in real time, even though I've done a couple of testing on these tools here, my live reaction and opinions of this device. Is it a true companion, or will it inevitably betray you along the line? Let's find out. I'm so excited. It's my Covert Instrument review. But before we get into there, two quick things. One, actually three quick things. One, I love a lively chat. I love talking about things. Feel free in chat to talk about your day, ask questions about what the fuck am I doing, why am I so fucking late again, why am I wearing this hat, which I'll bring up at the end of the episode, about my out-of-control facial hair, things like that. As long as it's not boring troll shit, I'm good. But I love a lively chat. I love to interact with you folks. If you are just here to watch and lurk, that is fine. As I keep saying, keep lurking and keep learning. Two, if you want live notifications that I'm on air, and also, you know, variety of different streaming methods, because we're on everything, that Linktree link has all of them in there. So feel free to like, share, and subscribe completely for free on Twitch, YouTube, PeerTube, Odyssey, and Kick. For all of those except for PeerTube and Odyssey, I get an alert when you follow. That's excellent. I also get an alert when you donate to the charity, and I worship you during the entire... So when you normally follow us, I shout you out. There's also a notification that pops up. But when you donate, I worship you through the entire screen, such as top donation Murph, who gave a fuck ton of money, and then there's been a recent donation. It's going to cycle through some things. But I'm so happy for all the donors that have donated so far. It didn't take much to get to nearly halfway. I'm really impressed. So that's that. And the third thing is, while I am a member of TOOOL, the Open Organizational Lockpickers. This is not a TOOOL endorsed stream. This is... I control you in a nice way, but unfortunately I'm now going to the shed to pick locks. Have a good life, buddy. Thank you. I'm kind of curious about your shed now. I read initially shed like you were going to shed your skin, and then I was like, oh, it's backyard shed. Yeah, and all of this on YouTube and stuff, it's all archived, so you can go watch it later. I just live stream for fun. But it's not a TOOOL endorsed stream. This is not like backed by the Open Organizational Lockpickers, even though I am a member. But I do like to follow two rules that TOOOL does in general, and I always start every episode of this, although in 2023 I was slipping a lot. So the two rules are, one, do not pick locks that you rely on. I hate when I teach people this shit and they instinctively want to pick their front door lock, pick their gym locker lock, things like that, their fucking foot locker. Don't do that. You have the risk of breaking your picks, which I've never done, but you can do it. And it doesn't take much. You can break the lock, you can break the pick in the lock that you broke, which is really fun. And the more you do an attack and a bypass on a device, the more susceptible it is to that form of attack. So do not pick locks you rely on, and do not pick locks that you don't own. These two things sound like they're common sense, but I'm an American. I know there's no such thing as common sense. I'm an American in New Jersey, okay? There's no fucking common sense. Got it? Peace? Okay. If you get your Covert Companion or any of the other tools on this show, and you see a basic bitch lock that you've seen on this show, and then you want to replicate it on that lock that you saw in public, please fucking don't. I don't care if it's one of the Covert Instruments stupid tag games. Don't do it. Because, like, it's on someone else's property. Okay? As a brown person, I can be paranoid about this. Cops don't like that. The people who own the building and the property will not like that. You can get in so much trouble because of that, even if you're doing the right thing. So all the locks that you're going to see and the techniques that you're going to see, this again was a tool that a friend donated to me, knowing that I'm an expert, allegedly, and that I know these tools. And all the locks that you see are locks that I don't use to lock anything, and I own them, but I give myself and everyone who attends my in-person classes, like at Hack Manhattan, permission to lockpick on, because again, I don't use them to secure anything. I learned them to learn and to further improve my lockpicking skills, as well as everyone else who attends the classes with me. Good? So again, do not pick locks that you rely on, and don't pick locks that you don't own. Yay. So that's a new sip. Let's go take a look at this thing, shall we? Ta-da. Alright, so before we get to here, I want to go through, trust me, we're almost going to get to the episode, because I'm so excited to do this, to be honest. I do want to point out some things here, so let's get the web browser on. So that's the blog that we talked about. As you can see, we're doing updates and everything. We have a couple of things pinned up here. Sometimes we do community bulletins until we get back to our normal live streams. I also want to shout out Hack Manhattan. I joined them in October. They're a local hackerspace in Manhattan because, unfortunately, as far as I know, there are no after Maker Bar, which is where we used to meet at, burnt to the ground, and another place moved. There is no viable hacker spaces in North New Jersey, particularly Northeast New Jersey. They don't exist anymore. So I had to go to a New York one, and I just really liked Hack Manhattan. I like their vibe. I like the stuff that they do. I liked most of the members. Things like that. Really cool space. They do everything here. It's not just programming and hardware, even though that's a lot of it. There's also sewing and poetry and journaling and people going out to cool events around the city, things like that. And if you want to know more about them, here's the link to them in chat at hackmanhattan.com. It's really easy to get to. I'm from New Jersey, so if I say it's easy to get to, it's easy to get to. You basically take the PATH train to the 33rd station stop, walk up to 37th Street, take a right because it's between 6th and 7th Avenue. If you are a New Yorker, I did that on purpose. If you are from New York City or that area, once you get in, take any of the orange or yellow lines to 34th Street. So the D, the F, I'm going to run out of these, D, F, M, the N, the R, Q, W, all of those go to 34th Street. And a lot of other trains go to 34th Street, but that's the closest you'll get. You'll only be 3 blocks away. So that's there. And finally, that charity I was talking about. So we are trying to raise money. Why do I have the donation page? Hang on, let's correct this. Did I put in the wrong page? Shouldn't be this page. Hang on. Did I think I switched these up by accident because I'm dumb as shit. Hold on. It's probably this page, isn't it? Yes, it's this page. Okay, so we are raising money for. Let's go to the actual. I'm dumb. Okay, let's go back. We're raising money through Tiltify for Doctors Without Borders, due to the current Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which is now expanding over to Lebanon and Yemen, and basically we're on World War III right now. And what's amazing about Doctors Without Borders is they're an entire volunteer squad of doctors who are deployed into war zones and natural disaster areas to just help medically anyone that needs help. Wounded soldiers, wounded civilians, sick people, people trapped under rubble, all of that. They don't care about your political allegiances or whatever. Just if you are suffering because of a thing, they will go and help you. They've been even deployed in the United States for things like Hurricane Sandy and Katrina and shit, okay? And again, they will treat both Palestinian and Israeli victims. Just want to note, because of how terrible the Israeli government is, people with Doctors Without Borders, which are all volunteer doctors around the world, including Jews and Israelis, have been shot at and had their vehicles and equipment seized and blown up by the Israeli Defense Force. Nothing from Hamas yet, even though they're terrorist fuckheads. So instead, we have the government fuckheads fucking them over. So that's how bad the whole conflict is. And, there's been a bunch of injured Israelis, and there's a fuck ton of injured and dead Palestinians, especially children who suffer the most from all of this. They need help. Again, also Doctors Without Borders supports Ukraine, the various tsunamis in the various East Asian countries, Flint, Michigan, things like that. So even if you're like, I don't know about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, while that's our focus, your money will just basically go to doctors helping out people in need, particularly kids. So that's the, as opposed to the chat, the donation link, because I'll be talking about this all stream, will go there. And there's also that QR code on Twitch. There's a little widget for it. And it could be any amount. Do you want to drop 50 like Murph did? Amazing. You want to drop 51 in top Murph for the top donation? Even better. But if you just send $1, $5, $7, $10, that all makes a big difference in the end. So that's how we usually get past these things. So any donation is very accepted. So all that out of the way. Also, when you donate, we get a prompt, I worship you the entire stream, which then gets saved forever. So you are known in infamy for helping out sick and injured people, especially kids, for a good cause. And again, Stiltify, we don't handle the money. So with all that out of the way, let's finally do the thing. Let's do this. I am so fucking excited. Let's do this. Let's turn on the lockpicking cam. So it's Covert Instruments. Like a lot of things in the lockpicking world, for absolutely no fucking reason, it comes in a ginormous drug baggie. That's the... What? Did this freeze? Oh, God. Hang on. Hold on. Sorry. Let's try to fix the camera. Hold on. Sorry, the camera went all stupid. There we go. Okay, so comes in this giant Ziploc bag with the Covert Instrument logo on it. Very much like all lockpicking stuff that's under a certain weight and is thin and small come in these like fucking drug baggies, which makes packaging and stuff absolutely hilarious. And, of course, the giant Covert Instruments logo, because there's one thing Covert Instruments is really good at, even more than Sparrows, is the branding. The brand is everywhere. It's kind of like the lockpicking version of Scrub Daddy, except I think they're a little bit less funny. So, in the baggie, you get the core of the Covert Companion, which is this sort of like, has two screws on it, and this whole flip-out latch instrument. And then you get a fuck ton of mini picks. And what's really fascinating, and I should have grabbed the video of this because we're going to look at like a couple of videos before and after we assemble it. Let me just dump out all the pick heads here. It's a lot. But from what I understand, the way the Covert Companion came about is one of their main employees is the lockpicking lawyer. I'm going to put the donation link right now. Is the lockpicking lawyer. He's one of the people that, in fact, when we do the lockpicking lawyer drinking game, there is actually going to be a sip, which is basically take a sip every time he mentions and shills Covert Instruments. We've been doing so for like 2 years now. And that's why a lot of people know this company. And what he used to say is that his everyday carry was he would get the... So a couple episodes ago, we covered the, in 2023, I worked at a company who had these sort of like metallic cards that had lockpicks etched into them that you could break out and use them. They're disposable, portable, miniaturized lockpicks. He got the tool set of them from the Open Organization Lockpickers, which are these sort of like mini-sized things from a card. And then he took a Swiss Army knife or a jackknife, and then, or a multi-tool, and then he put those, because they have holes at the end of them, in that little multi-tool, and then that went into his pocket like the way a keychain does. And so that's why I understand the inspiration of where the Covert Companion came from, is that this is basically an emulation, of some degree, of what lockpicking lawyers' own everyday carry is like. Which is one thing that... Because near the end and throughout the episode, I'm going to be talking about Covert Instruments. This is funny because this will be my first review of one of their products. And kind of also talk about, like, how I view them. How I feel like a lot of the lock sport people view them, for good and for bad. And also, like, just, like, their own reasons for why they're doing it. So, similarly to lockpicking lawyers' everyday carry, you have a core kit thing that sort of is like the holder for all of these little tiny picks. And even though I should have loaded it earlier, I'm going to now play a video that explains sort of what this whole system is and how it works. If I can find it here. I think it's this one. Let's find out. Where's my headphones? Here we go.
This is the Covert Instruments instructional video for the Covert Companion. In this video, we will provide examples of using each type of small standard format tool so that you know how to utilize the Covert Companion to its fullest potential. The Covert Companion is an incredibly powerful tool used to bypass all types of locks. The fully loaded version comes with 20 tools that can be broken down into 9 applications. Number 1, the Traveler Hook for latch bypass attacks. Number 2, the Knife Tool for attacking unshielded padlocks. Number 3, the Utility Flat for shimming attacks. Number 4, the Notch Decoder for decoding combination box locks. Number 5, Wave Rake style lockpicks for attacking pin tumbler locks. Number 6, Hook style lockpicks for single pin picking of pin tumbler locks. Number 7, Covert Jigglers used for attacking wafer locks. Number 8, Warded picks for attacking warded locks. And finally, number 9, Comb picks for bypassing specific locks. Let's first start with the Traveler Hook. This tool is used for attacking non-dead latched outward opening doors. The Traveler Hook simply hooks over the latch and rotates it out of the way, opening the door. If you would like to learn more about this tool, please watch the instructional video for the Traveler Hook. The Knife Tool is an effective method for bypassing cylinders on unshielded padlocks. In this style of lock, the unlocking mechanism is accessible through the keyway, and a knife-style tool that is inserted can directly actuate the unlocking mechanism. Simply inserting the tool, indexing it on the locking mechanism, and pulling down can unlock the lock. The Utility Flat is a tool with many uses. This tool is a thin strip of metal which can be used to bypass spring-loaded locking mechanisms such as the Master Lock 175. The Utility Flat can also shim the teeth on handcuffs which are not double locked, so make sure you always use double locking cuffs. The Notch Decoder is a tool which can be used to decode lockboxes and combination boxes. The difference between the Utility Shim and the Notch Decoder is the cutout on the tip, which can grab onto locking bars that are found in many combination-style locks. By grabbing onto the locking bar, we can bring it up to the wheels which binds them. Going through the numbers, we will feel a loose spot in the travel when we get to the right number. Once we go through all 4 of the combination wheels, we should be able to open the box and have the combination. The Wave Rakes are 2 of the 4 lockpicks on the Covert Companion and can be used to quickly rake open both standard pin tumbler locks as well as wafer locks. There is both a smaller format rake as well as a larger format rake for use in a wide array of key biddings and keyways. The other 2 picks in the Covert Companion are hooks. There is both a medium hook as well as a short hook which can be used to single pin pick standard pin tumbler locks. The Covert Companion form factor requires the use of a pistol-style grip which can be quickly learned and adopted. The Covert Jigglers are an all-in-one solution for opening wafer locks. The jigglers are inserted and jiggled up and down while providing a slight turning pressure, acting as a rake and tensioner all-in-one. These tools are highly effective on wafer locks and even some low-security pin tumbler locks. The Warded picks are a set of 5 tools which can open virtually all commercially available warded locks. By simply identifying the right pick for the lock, the Warded picks can be inserted and turned much like a key, quickly opening the locks. Lastly, we have the Comb picks. The Comb picks operate by pushing all pin stacks completely out of the core and into the housing, bypassing the need to pick the lock. There are 4 Comb picks in the Covert Companion. The 6-tooth comb in 25 thousandths, which can be used on American Series 2000 puck locks, the 6-tooth comb in 15 thousandths, which can be used on Master Lock M736 puck locks, the 5-tooth comb, which can be used on many locks including the Master Lock 160, and the 4-tooth comb, which can be used on a wide array of locks including the Master Lock Series 140. Covert Instruments. Thank you for purchasing a Covert Instruments Covert Companion, and we hope that you find great enjoyment in the practice and development of your new skill.
So right there, that's kind of an overview of what the thing is. There's 2 videos here. I think both of them outline how you're supposed to assemble them. We're going to be only following one here. So let me just see which one it is. Let's load the one from the official one from Covert Instruments and see what that is.
Here is how to assemble your Covert Companion with the commercial door hook, bypass driver, and turning tool expansions. The blueprint for this build.
So I just remembered that's the one about the expansions. We're going to cover that last. So this video by Lockpicking Lawyer about how to assemble this thing. So that's going to be the one we're going to be following here. Let's do this. It's kind of a preview of the Lockpicking Lawyer drinking game here.
This is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and a whole bunch of you either just received or are about to receive your new Covert Companion kit. There are a lot of parts to put together before it can look like this, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you my recommended assembly method and to give you a few tips on usage. But
Sorry, I stopped the video because I just remembered that I have to there's a piece that's missing that's in my bin. So I'm not even going to put the music on pause. I'll do the off air, but I will be right back. So just give me a couple of seconds. Just realized I forgot something. Alright, I am back. Hold on.
and a whole bunch of you
Alright,
either
hopefully
just
there wasn't anything
received
weird-
or are
oh,
about to
hopefully
receive
there
your
wasn't
new
anything weird
Covert
going on with
Companion
that.
kit.
Let's
There
go
are
back
a
to the
lot of
video
parts
here.
to put together before it can look like this, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you my recommended assembly method and to give you a few tips on use.
For those of you who didn't know, this is the little expansion pack thing, so I just grabbed that just in case. So let's go back to the video of how to assemble this thing.
But before I start, if my inbox is any indication, there were a lot of you disappointed by an out-of-stock sign. For all those people, we anticipate to be stocked with even greater quantities of most products sold on covertinstruments.com, including the Covert Companion sometime. I don't have a kit all nicely packaged because they all went out to you, but the parts are the same. Now, whether you assemble this with just the included tools or you add other tools or keys of your own choosing, the thing to remember while assembling is that some tools can't be directly across from each other. That's why we have spacers to make them nest side by side. But to make this easy, if you are just using the included tools, this is my recommendation for assembly. Let's start with this side of the handle and get 2 of the extension pieces. They're part of the expansion pack, and put 1 on each side. Then find the 2 shortest screws. They should have little rubber O-rings on them. If they don't have them, find them and put them on. They are very important for assembly because they allow the tools to move after the screws are tightened down. So, We're going to start on this side, and the first tool to go on is the traveler hook. On top
Okay,
of
I need
that
to look at that again real quick.
is a knife tool. Then we're going to put a washer, and that's followed by the 4. If they don't have them, find side by side. But to make this easy, if you are just using the included tools, this is my recommendation for assembly. Let's start with this side of the handle and get 2 of the extension pieces. They're part of the expansion pack, and put 1 on each side. Then find the 2 shortest screws. They should have little tools. This is my recommendation for assembly. Let's start with this side of the handle and get 2 of the extension pieces. They're part of the expansion pack, and put 1 on each side. Then find the 2 shortest screws. They should have little rubber O-rings on them. If they don't have them, find them and put them on. They are very important for assembly because they allow the tools to move after the screws are tightened down.
Okay, so sounds like let's move all the tools over. So first let's actually take this thing apart. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. I probably could do this just with my fingers, but I figured like using an actual. Whoop, I wasn't paying attention. That's gonna be probably common. Now that I have it loose enough, I can do this. So the good thing about this is that this already has this screw with the rubber washers on them, so that's good to know. So first we're going to take the actual core apart. And it also seems like built in, there's a lot of these rubber spacers, so that's also good to know. So now we have them in 2 parts. I'm going to take off all these rubber spacers here. I'm also going to take off whatever the fuck this thing is. I think that might be part of the expansion. And some more of these rubber sort of extensions. Now we have this base. So as I said before, I need these 2 sort of things from the expansion kit. I'm actually going to go back to the video and look at which, there's just a couple of different ones in here. I'm going to look at the exact ones he took out here.
This is my recommendation for assembly. Let's start with this side of the handle and get 2 of the extension pieces. They're part of the expansion pack, and put 1 on each side.
Okay, so it seems like they're the little tinier bullet ones. Now, unfortunately, and this is probably not the great idea, so don't try this at home, kids. I don't have a pair of scissors with me, but I do have the knife that I stabbed myself with last year. So I'm going to be extra careful, and we're going to pierce... Whoop. Don't do this thing. I'm going to pierce it like this. Should eat it like butter. There we go. That's all I need. Don't need much with this thing. It's a carbon weaved edge razor blade. Very... Trust me, I know from experience how good it is. So now that we have the expansion pack open, getsmart.com/assembly. Huh, interesting. You can throw all that on there. So I believe the ones that he picked up were not these like super long ones. It was these little guys right here. They kind of look like serrated driver pins almost, but they actually are screws. I'm going to put that one there. There should be another one floating around that's the same height here. That one's slightly small, so I think it's this one. Oh, hold on. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. Oop, there's another washer in there I didn't notice. Cool. Oh, it's going to be a messy stream. God, I wish I started on time. I was really supposed to go to a party and everything, hence why I was going to start at 7 and end around 9, but plans changed. Plans changed. Put the screwdriver away. And on the other side, the non-labeled side, I'm I'm going to put in back the other 2 screws with the washer. So now let's see which order, and I have the logo this way, so I'm going to see how he matches it, and we're going to see which is the first ones he does in which order.
Then find the 2 shortest screws. They should have little rubber O-rings on them. If they don't have them, find them and put them on. They are very important for assembly because they allow the tools to move after the screws are tightened down. So we're going to start on this side, and the first tool to go on is the traveler hook. On top of that is a knife tool. Then we're going to put a washer, and that's followed by the 4.
So the first 2 things he said was on the left is the traveler hook and the washer. And I just want to rewind the video a bit because I want to see how he... Okay, so he has, like I have here, both of the names. It says Key Smart Patent Pending, focused towards me. Oh boy.
The traveler hook. On top of that is a knife tool. Then we're going to put a washer.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing is the traveler hook and the washer. So let's do that. I have everything kind of thrown up over here, so we're going to spread these out a bit more so I can kind of hopefully can see which is going where. And them sort of spread. It's a lot of tools. You get a lot of tools from this, and I already have opinions based on the tools that I see. Mostly good opinions, to be honest, but let's find out. So here's the traveler's hook, and I'm going to go back to the video real quick because I just want to double check how he orients it. Because I don't know if he orients it point up or point down.
The traveler hook.
Okay, so he does it point up. So on the left we have the traveler hook, and then we have, he said, one of the knife bypasses, which I believe it is this, sorry, I can't get on the camera. This guy right here is the knife bypass. Also, I'm going to go back to the video real quick to see how he orients it.
On top of that is a knife tool. Then we're going to put a washer.
Okay, I can't tell if he has the flat of the blade facing down or up.
Then we're going to put a...
I think it's facing down. So we're going to do that and put another washer there. So, kablam. And then a washer. Now let's see what he says next. Lockpicking lawyer, explain to us.
washer. And that's followed by the four of the warded picks. Each one should be separated by one of these little spacers. On top of these tools are...
Okay, so he does them each by the spacers. So this is the warded locks. Now the way I'm going to do it, which is going to be slightly different from him, I'm going to do it in a ascending to descending order. So I'm going to take the thickest two-pronged one. I'm going to put another spacer. And then I'm going to grab the same two-pronged one, but kind of smaller. Put that in there. Do another spacer. Figure I'll be ultimate basic bitch and not only have one of these lent to me by SuHacker, which thank you so much, SuHacker, once again for lending this to me, but also the way infamous lockpicking lawyer, God of all locks, is set up. Then I'm going to be doing the one-pronged, I call it the mushroom head sometime, one with the spacer in it. And then finally, the mini mushroom head one, also known for me as the Trump mushroom head warded bypass, because they're not picks, they're bypasses there. with the spacer. Now let's go back to the video. I hope I did this all right so far.
2 of the jigglers. Again, they are separated by spacers. And we're going to cap this off with another spacer. Okay, let's move to the other side.
Okay, so now we're doing the 2 jigglers and the spacer. And the way I'm going to do this is, so we have 2 jigglers. We have the one-sided wafer lock jiggler. We have the double-sided wafer lock jiggler. And I'm going to put the one-sided one first with a spacer. We're getting almost to the top here. And then the double-sided one, finally capped off if I can with another spacer. Because I believe I have now officially hit the limit of how much shit you can stack on here. It's going to be, I'm actually going to leave this washer to the side so I can press this down and squeeze it later. So now let's figure out what we do on the right side. We still have plenty of picks to go here.
We're going to start with a spacer because that's right across from the traveler hook. Then we're going to get our notch decoder and our utility shim and put them on together. They're
doing the notch decoder followed by the utility shim here. So notch decoder is the thinnest, flimsiest thing in here. It's about 1/15,000th of an inch. You can tell because it's very springy, extremely flexible, which is perfect for getting between wheels and such. I actually have to go back and let me also see how he does it tip notch up or notch down for this thing, because it does have a notch in it. There's a notch in it, as you can see there. So I'm going to figure out that rotation. And I also want to rewind it to see if we were supposed to put a washer at the bottom of the original set here. So I'm going to look at those two in a second.
followed by a spacer. Put them on together. They're followed by...
Okay, so he definitely doesn't notch up. Now I'm going to rewind all the way back to the beginning, just because I want to make sure I didn't miss out putting an initial washer at the bottom here. I don't think so.
the traveler hook.
Yeah, there's no washer at
On
the
top
bottom,
of that-
so we're good. Alright, let's go back and let's put the notch decoder and the bypass on here. So notch decoder with the notch up above a washer, and also the where did you go? Not this guy. Here's the rod there. Let's see what he says next.
Followed by a spacer. And the 4 combs, each separated by a spacer.
Okay, so we're going to be doing the 4 different combs, except again, also separated by a spacer each, similar to the warded lock bypasses. And again, I'm going to do ascending to descending order. So first we have a 6-pinner that you will rarely use. Also, let me quickly look back on the video to see how he orients them up or down. So he does all of these facing downwards, which is fascinating. So downwards, and each are separated also by a spacer. See, I also just realized that this is probably also a trick. And by the way, now we're going to do a 5-pinner now. I also think they give you extra picks, so I'm not going to be putting all of them. He said 4, and there's extra comb picks in here. So, 2, another 6-pinner. Actually, I should shout. Regardless, I just realized that basically I'm doing SuHacker's job for her. So she'll have a fully assembled one, professionally done by me, instead of having to do it herself. Sneaky, clever girl. I like you. Let's go back to the video real quick. Then there should be a 4.
Okay, now a spacer, and then followed by a spacer and the 4 combs, each separated by a spacer. Okay, now a spacer, and then...
Okay, so he says 4 here. But let's see. We have the 6-pinner, we have the 5-pinner. There's 2 6-pinners. Okay, I want to test something with these 6-pinners. Let me take them off. Because my whole thing is I wonder if they have the same profile or 2 different profiles. If they have the same profile. So why do you have 4 of them? You only need 3 of them because they have the same exact... Yeah, they're the same profile. It's the same height and everything. I don't know why you have 4 of them. So again, I'm going to just put a 6 one down. Put that one on. They only give you 1 5-pinner, which is this one. We put another washer. And then here's my other thing. There's then 2 4-pinners that are also the same width and height. So again, I don't even know why you're doing 4 of them when 3 will suffice. So in the meantime, I'm just going to do that one and put another spacer on it. Alright, let's go back to the video.
Our 5th worded pick. Another spacer, and our last jiggler.
Okay, so now I'm getting a little confused. So he's doing the last worded pick, which is a very uncommon little L-shaped one here. And let me also quickly go at the video again to see how he orients. I believe that's also face down.
Their spacer, and,
Yes.
and our last jiggler.
Which is confusing me because there's no other
And 1 more spacer.
jigglers here. Unless it was supposed to be... Wait a minute, I'm confused. Hold on. Okay, so... There's supposed to be 2 jigglers on the same side. But he wants us to put them here. So, let me do some minor surgery here. So ours might look slightly different from his. Putting that in a spacer. I'm going to transplant the original top one here over to this side and put a spacer on it. And now we're going to hear what he wants us to do here.
I think the one on this side fell off, so let's put that back on. Okay, now let's get our 2 hooks. And put them on the other side. Our 2 rakes. Going to put them on as well. All of these pieces can be pushed out of the way. Then let's flip this over.
So here's the part that's confusing me. Okay, because we're going to do the hooks next. So we have 2 hooks here. They are a short hook and a medium hook, which is a great range. My only real difference is I wish there was a notched hook for the short hook, similar to the Sparrow's monkey paw. Also, I don't think there were washers on that. Let me double check the video.
Our 2 rakes, hooks, our 2 rakes. Going to put them on as well. all of these pieces can be pushed out of the way. Then let's flip this over.
Okay, so here's what's been going on. So again, we're going to go to this top piece here. We're going to put the 2 hooks down, and then we're going to do the 2 rakes, which I will also do high frequency and low frequency on. And now he says to flip them over, but here's the thing here. Let me do some counting. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then over here we have, whoop, a mess. No, we have this little confusing clamp together here. Come on, stop sticking. Jesus Christ. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. So my whole thing is, what the fuck is this thing? It looks like a ginormous half diamond, which maybe is a jiggler, but I don't know where this thing goes, because right now it should be even. There should be 7 on each side, 8, 9, 10, 11 pieces. So it should be all balanced, because there should be 7 here and 7 here. 8, 9, and then 9 here. So it should be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be 18 picks. But then they give you this thing. I don't even know what you use this thing for. So to be honest, I'm just gonna put this one to the side and just do it like the way the video did. As I said, now we're gonna take this, we're gonna turn it upside down. Oh, I have to put that other washer on top. There you go. Take this guy, I'm going to turn it upside down. This is the tricky part, because I'm not very, despite my affinity for lockpicking, I don't have the dexterity that people don't think I do. I'm just going to lightly screw them in with my hands, just so that they're locked in and they don't go anywhere. There's a lot of hectic conversation going on in the Hack Manhattan space right now. I was hoping it'd be quiet, but, you know, it's a public space. Alright, so that's it. Let me just see any of the remainder of the video to see if I'm missing anything.
And close the handle up. I'm going to just start that screw with my fingernail. After I get it started, we can use a screwdriver to tighten it down.
Okay, it's exactly how I thought he was doing it. It's the same way I would have done it. We have like almost the same screwdriver too. Although I think this is just like a no-name branded one as opposed to my Craftsman one. I don't have an affinity for Craftsman or anything. It's just that was the cheapest, most available one I had at Lowe's at the time.
Okay, if we did that right, with a little bit of shuffling, they should all fit inside of each other. Perfect. Okay, now that we have that assembled.
Alright, so here comes the moment of truth here. So, again, I'm going to finish hand screwing this. Ooh, let's get him tight now. That's interesting. Now let's do screwdriver time. God, I think this one's at like a wrong angle or something. Maybe? I feel like it should be tighter than this. Let me go back to the video. Yeah, it should be flat.
Okay.
Alright, let's see what I'm doing wrong. Probably doing something wrong. Might be the angle. I will say these are swinging pretty freely now. Watch, this is probably going to be the hardest part. That would be funny as hell. Why can't I get you out now? Jesus. I feel like there's like something uneven in it, and I don't know why. What's going wrong here? It should not be this loose. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Let's take this out. Let's see what's going on here. So let's retransplant these over. I see what's going on. Alright, at least we have these in mostly order now, so we just restack them really quick. Of course, everything goes flying as soon as I say that. Alright. Let's try this again. Let's move this back. Oh, interesting. Oh, fascinating. All right, so apparently this was screwed in so hard at such an odd angle that it actually took the extension with it. That's kind of the issue. So, let's see if I can do this with my hand. I don't think I can. Shit. All right, I'm going to go on a quick break because I need to get a pair of needle nose pliers I didn't thought I would need, and I will be right back. Alright, we are back here.
This is the Lockpicking Lawyer, and a whole bunch of you either just received or are about to receive your new Covert Companion kit. There are a lot of parts to put together before it can look like this, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you my recommended assembly method and to give you a few tips on usage. But before I start, if my inbox is any indication, there were a lot of you disappointed by an out-of-stock sign. For all those people, we anticipate to be stocked with even greater quantities of most products sold on CovertInstruments.com, including the Covert Companion, sometime the week after Thanksgiving. More on that as the date approaches. So on to assembly. The kit comes with all of these parts. I don't have a kit all nicely packaged because they all went out to you, but the parts are the same. Now whether you assemble this with just the included tools, or you add other tools or keys of your own choosing, the thing to remember while assembling is that some tools can't be directly across from each other. That's why we have spacers to make them nest side by side. But to make this easy, if you are just using the included tools, this is my recommendation for assembly. Let's start with this side of the handle and get 2 of the extension pieces. They're part of the expansion pack, and put 1 on each side. Then find the 2 shortest screws. They should have little rubber O-rings on them. If they don't have them, find them and put them on. They are very important for assembly because they allow the tools to move after the screws are tightened down. So, we're going to start on this side, and the first tool to go on is the traveler hook. On top of that is a knife tool. Then we're going to put a washer, and that's followed by the 4 of the warded picks. Each one should be separated by one of these little spacers.
And then of course I have to sort everything, but now that I know how they're sorted, I can kind of just eat through all of this again. So now that this is clamped in here, I'm going to attempt to use the screwdriver and unscrew it without it moving. There we go.
On top of these tools are
weird that it gets stuck
2 of the jigglers.
That actually makes me realize something.
Again, they are separated by spacers.
So the good thing is that I have also like alternative screws just in case this one doesn't work out. I want to see something now.
And we're going to cap this off with another spacer.
Start with my hands.
Okay, let's move to the other side. We're going to start with a spacer because that's right across from the traveler hook. Then we're going to get our notch decoder and our utility shim. Put them on together. They're followed by a spacer and the 4 combs, each separated by a spacer.
I just want to make sure that you can actually do this. So I think basically I was just like at the absolute wrong angle, and that's what seized everything up in here. Fascinating. Okay, so let's get this out. Let's try this again.
Okay, now a spacer, and then our 5th warded pick. Another spacer, and our last jiggler.
So we're going to put this guy down.
And 1 more spacer.
We're going to take this extension out the most
I think the one on this side fell off, so let's put that back on.
Yep, there we go. Alright, so.
Okay, now let's get our 2 hooks.
Screw this extension back in.
And put them on the other side. Our 2 rakes. Going to put them on as well.
Take these guys off.
All of these pieces can be pushed out of the way. Then let's flip this over and close the handle up. Going to just start that screw with my fingernail.
Okay.
After I get it started, we can use a screwdriver to tighten it down.
Long hook here, a short hook here, and then we're going to rearrange all of this. So the 5, put the washer down, 4, put another washer down.
Okay, if we did that right, with a little bit of shuffling, they should all fit inside of each other. Perfect. Okay, now that we have that assembled, we're going to try it out and open this master lock in a couple different ways. We're going to start the hardest possible way by single pin picking it.
Do it on both sides.
With our short hook. I'm going to hold it with a little bit of a pistol grip like this.
And then the low frequency.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 is binding.
Flip this
Click there, pulling back. That was a click out of 2. Nothing on 1. Click out of 3.
It's really tricky to do.
Click out of 1, and we got this open. Okay, that was the hardest way. Let's get one of our rakes out and try it a way that's a little bit easier. Again, I'm using the same pistol grip. That was pretty quick. Let's try that again. Make sure that wasn't a fluke. Nope, that's just really easy to rake. And the final way to open this, which should be the easiest, is using a comb pick. Because this is a Master 141, everyone I've ever run across has been susceptible to combing.
This is going to be a fun puzzle tonight. I love that.
Okay, folks,
Probably the hard
this is
part
a
not
really
being able to
versatile
get any
tool,
slots.
and I want you to know that we actually
simple
have
issue
more
of
inserts planned for it in the near future, probably in the first half of
Trying to get all of
2021.
this to fit.
But that's all I have for you today. If you do have any questions or comments about this, please put them below. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, please subscribe. And as always, have a nice day. Thank you.
Lining them all up, and then just start hand scraping this and do it as flat as possible here. And we do the same thing on the other side just to make sure. What? Fuck. Of course that's gonna happen. Let's shortcut. Let's see if I can bullshit my way onto here. With the spacer and everything. I feel like you need, like, spindly fingers in order to assemble this, to be honest. Why am I having problems with this? Because there should be no way that there's this much space. It seems like the screws are crooked somehow, but I can't tell how. Which is frustrating the shit out of me. Sorry, I'm not very talkative. I'm just really trying to concentrate. Because again, it feels like like, when I look at it, it feels like the screw is crooked somehow. Like, it's leaning outward instead of completely straight, and, like, I have no idea why it's doing that, since I'm, like, screwing it in as flat as I can. It's confusing the shit out of me, because there it is flush, right? And then... I feel like the screw, for some reason, should be longer. That's the weird part for me. Like, as a mechanical thing, it's like they're too low of a profile to be, like, properly screwed in. Why is there, like, a weird bent to it? Okay, the only thing I could possibly think of is that maybe I should have used these shorter ones? But then, I don't think that would make any sense, because they would all pile up. But you know what? Let's do that. Let's say, for the sake of argument, let's take all of this off, since now we know what order it goes in. And let's... redo this from scratch. But let's put in the shorter, stacks in here. In fact, when I take all this out, I need to do nose stuff, because my nose is congested in here. So I'm going to go on an extremely short break. It's only going to be a couple of seconds. I'm going to even put the music back on. But I tried what I consider the medium ones, and I'm thinking maybe those were too tall. So let's try... putting on the shorter extensions and see if that changes anything. So, give me one moment, I'll be right back, and then we'll continue on this madness. Alright, we're back to this nightmare.
This is the Lockpicking
So,
Lawyer, and a whole bunch of you
to
readers
recap,
have received
besides that you
or are
totally
about to
donate
receive your
to
new
the
Covert
charity that's in the
Companion
link.
kit. There are a lot of parts to put together before it can look like this, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you my recommended assembly method and to give you a few tips on usage. But before I start, if my
I
inbox
put what
is
I
any
thought were the
indication, there were
medium-sized
a lot
extensions
of
on
disappointed by an out-of-stock sign.
Because there's a decent
For all
amount of
those people,
space,
we anticipate to be stocked with
now
even greater
wondering
quantities of most products sold
I
on
should have
CovertInstruments.com,
installed instead
including the Covert Companion
shortest
sometime the
ones
week after
for
Thanksgiving. More on
So
that as the
we're
day
going to,
approaches.
hopefully in rapid
So,
succession,
on to assembly. The kit comes with all of these parts. I don't have the kit all nicely packaged because they all went out to you, but the parts are the same. Now whether you assemble this with just the included tools, or you add other tools or keys of your own choosing, the thing to remember while assembling is that some tools can be directly across from each other. That's why we have spacers to make them nest side by side. But to make this easy, if you are just using the included tools, this is my recommendation for assembly. Let's start with this side of the handle and get 2 of the extension pieces. They're part of the expansion pack, and put one on each side. Then find the 2 shortest screws.
So what I'm going to do this
They should have little rubber O-rings on them. If they don't have them, find them and put them on. They are very important for assembly because they allow the tools to move after the screws are tightened down. So, we're going to start on this side, and the first tool to go on is the traveler hook. On top of that is a knife tool. Then we're going to put a washer, and that's followed by the 4 of the warded picks. Each one should be separated by one of these little spacers.
That's so weird. Lots of weird discussion going on outside, by the way.
On top of these tools are 2 of the jigglers. Again, they are separated by spacers.
Also, you know what? These are shorter screws.
And we're going to cap this off with another spacer.
As well. So,
okay, let's move to the
let's
other
put this
side.
back in the order we previously had
We're going to start with a
Got
spacer
those there.
because that's right across from the traveler
Then we
hook.
got our screws.
Then we're going to get
They're way shorter now.
our notch decoder and our utility shim. Put them on together.
The Key Smart logo and stuff all up.
They're followed by a spacer
Yeah,
and
there.
4 combs, each separated by a spacer.
I also wonder something else. I want to take a quick look back at the video about something. Hold on, let's figure something out here. Oop, my desktop audio is on. I apologize. Here we go. We're going back to the video here real quick. I just want to check something from the beginning.
My in front of these are the side by side. But to make this easy, if you are just using the included tools, this is my recommendation for assembly. Let's start with this side of the handle and get 2 of the extension pieces. They're part of the expansion pack, and put one on each side. Then find the 2 shortest screws. They should have little rubber O-rings on them. If they don't have them, find them and put them on. They are very important for assembly because they allow the tools to move after the screws are tightened down.
Okay, I see what's going on. By the way, I had to, let me turn the volume down. Sorry about that. I had to exchange to the more crappier camera so you wouldn't have that buzz in the background because it kept increasing. I also realized that my phone might have just died. My phone just died. Okay, no biggie. So, 1, I didn't hear him say take the 2 shortest screws. So that's new to me. And 2, similar to what I accidentally did with this guy, when I get those other screws, I actually have to push them in the hole with the washer so that they literally stick on the other side. So that's one difference. All right, let's do everything else. So we have our notch. Also, let me just look at the video again real quick. I also realized I didn't put the cam back on. So yeah, 1, I didn't realize I needed the 2 shortest screws. I missed that part because I'm an idiot. And 2, that the rubberized washer part needs to actually be pressed into this base so it actually sticks in the base and doesn't fall out. So we're going to go back to the video real quick here because I just want to see orientation stuff.
So we're going to start on this side, and the first tool to go on is the traveler hook. On top of that is a knife tool. Then we're going to put a washer. And that's followed by. On top of these tools are two of the jigglers. Again, they are separate.
Oh, I also just realized where that other piece is supposed to go here.
And we're going to cap this off with another spacer. Okay, let's move
I really
to
want to
the
assemble
other
this so we can
side.
pick locks. So now I
We're
also
going to
know where
start
that
with
other,
a
I didn't know that
spacer,
was a worded
because
lock
that's
bypass,
right
whatever it's
across
called.
from the traveler hook.
Never seen anything like that. Might have to re-listen to it again. Actually, let me
And we're
quickly
going to
re-listen to it again and see what that
cap
piece
this
is
off
for.
with another
Or
spacer.
is that for wafers?
Okay. Again, they are separate. On top of these tools are two of the jigglers. Again, they are separated by spacers.
Okay, the jigglers, and then they are topped with okay.
And we're going to cap this off with
And then they're
another
capped
spacer.
off.
Okay, let's move to
Let me
the
just
other
double check
side.
that if he mentioned spacers or not. He did. Okay, we're going to skip over here. So I put that one on, and then we're going to put a spacer. It's going to get really full really quick. And then this one's on. And normally he caps it with another spacer, but I'm just going to leave it like that because it's a little too stiff. Let's go back to the video real quick.
Then we're going to get our notch decoder and our utility shim and put them on together. They're followed by a spacer and the four combs, each separated by a.
Okay, each notch, so the notch is facing up. And now we're going to do the comb picks, which again, they have duplicates. So I don't know why they have so many. I'm just going to leave it like that. As long as I know there's a spacer up here, I'm good. Let me watch again.
Spacer.
Okay, they're facing downwards. And again, we're going to be doing largest to smallest in that order. go back to the vid.
Spacer, and then our 5th worded pick. Another spacer, and our last jiggler. And one more spacer.
Okay, the rest of this I should not need the video for, so let's do this. So he has the last worded rare L pick facing down, and a spacer, and then he has his last jiggler capped with a spacer. And by the way, I'm going to do things a little differently for this plop on. Just do the space stuff. So I believe he has them facing downwards. So up like this. So we do long hook and short hook. And just to double check, I'm going to watch the video again real quick.
And I think the one on this side fell off. Hooks.
I just need to know which orientation.
And put them on
Yeah,
the
downwards. And which means the bump should be downwards. Yep. Okay. And then we're going to sandwich everything. Here we go. Alright, so there's downwards. And then we're going to do the high frequency, which I believe is the sinoid, and then the sinoid low frequency. And I'm actually going to put the spacer on this guy, because that's the only way it's going to fit, in my opinion. So, check. God, Darth Beep, who's a member, is so loud you can like hear them through the door, which I find hilarious. Oh, things are falling out. Okay. So I'm supposed to flip these over. This part where I have to sit down so my head's going to disappear. I should really be holding this the other way. That's the frustrating part right here. If this was my personal one, I'd be gross and use my mouth. But this is SuHacker's. This is being linked to me, so... Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to place these on because it's easier. Oh, you know what? I just realized I'm doing this wrong. Hang on. That I can leave it that way, but the spacer actually needs to be between these two. Hold on. Let's take things apart again. My fingers are like too fat. Everything's like too small. I guess having gigantic hands by comparison is not a bad thing. Wink, wink. We'll put that on there. Here's how I'm going to do this. God, it's so difficult to do this part. Even a hole. Fuck! God, this is so hard to do. It's almost like there's way too many tools on the left side. It's like, how was that even supposed to stay on? It's actually to the point where, you know what? Just for my own logistical thing, I think SuHacker and change it. I don't even know what you would use this for. Because you have the two other rakes. The two other jigglers. I'm just going to leave that on. That's just way too much easier to do. And honestly, I don't think you need that one peak. It just makes no fucking sense. Because, like, I mean, you could technically do the rate, but you could do that with the sinusoid ones as well. So weird. Plus, you have jigglers. If it doesn't work with a one-sided jiggler, I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, I'm sorry for being, like, lame, but this is just how I'm going to do it, just for my own sanity. Oh, and also I need to snap these in. Hang on. That's in. And this is in. It's also driving me crazy because Lockpicking Lawyer has like ginormous hands. So I don't know how he was able to fit everything. And then I wasn't. Skill issue maybe? I don't know. It's my new favorite Zillennial term is skill issue. So now we're going to do this. Now we're going to attempt to face plant this. I'm going to angle the camera down. So that way you can see me better when I sit down. Ah! Jesus Christ. This is like such a tight operation here. Jesus fucking shit. It's like everything is so... Like, I feel like this is like the lock equivalent of like building a model ship. To the point where, honestly, I would probably pay like $120. So like a $30 extra just to get one that's pre-assembled. So I wouldn't have to deal with this bullshit. Okay. Those are on. What? Really? Nope. Now on, I guess. I've lost a hole on the other side here. There we go. I have to do this again. God damn it. This is some horse shit. I almost already want to give it a negative review based on like how fucking difficult this is to assemble. Like honestly, like bravo to everyone else who like assembled this by themselves, because unless I'm truly doing something wrong, I have no idea what the fuck's going on here. Because the shorter ones will definitely solve my other problem. It's just more of like, oh, that's another issue. Do it this way. Look. Hold on. See, I really hope people start donating money because, you know, to me the best streams where you're doing it for charity is when someone's torturing themselves, like being in a tank of eels or something like that. What the fuck's going on with the wire? Okay, let's do this for the 8th millionth time. So, steep hook down. Sorry I'm doing this off cam, it's just easier for me to do. I'm like losing my mind right now. Like, I feel like I should do some heavy drinking after this, to be honest. Okay. Because it feels almost like there's too many tools on one side of this. I'm definitely glad that what did I do now? Oh, it's this shit. I'm definitely glad that I did one less tool on the right side. Because, yeah. this one now. Ah! Flew towards me. Here it goes. The beeping is not helping. So here's how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna start like this. Then I'm gonna, I'm just hoping when I screw this in that it's gonna pop in. That's what I'm looking for here. Okay, that popped in. Yeah, it really feels like there was like way too many tools on one side of this. Although maybe this will make it lopsided. I don't know. It feels that way. Alright, so. I'm going to loosen it a bit more. It's a little bit too stiff. There we go. Making sure these brackets don't move. Alright, this is close enough. I'm going to deem this close enough. Now let's see if this folds in. Alright. SuHacker, you might be able to do this better than me. I don't know. This is the closest I'm going to get. God damn it. Alright, so I'm going to say that despite me being a giant dumbass most of the time, that just based on how difficult it was to assemble this alone, my assembly rating for this is like, I keep going between a 4 and a 2. I'm going to be generous and say a 4, simply because I'm probably doing certain things still wrong and things like that, but I feel like maybe it's the way Lockpicking Lawyer did his method or something. There's just way too many tools on one side compared to the other. He also doesn't explain like how hard you should tighten this. There's also some odd spacing going on, especially with the Traveler's Hook kind of sticks out too much in the current spacing that is there. It's supposed to go in like that, but doesn't go all the way fully unless you like really focus around with it. So maybe I'm doing something wrong, but again, the video and everyone else makes it feel like that this is just easy to some. Thank you, Bila. Thank you for thinking it was amazing. Because this has been we just did over an hour and a half of just assembling this, which is nightmarishly bad. Again, I would rather, like, I'll put it this way. From what I understand, like, Sparrows has a new jackknife, and it's really expensive. But I would pay its price of just that because it's pre-assembled. I would totally pay $20 more to get this pre-assembled than to assemble this by myself. I just feel like that's like a cost-cutting issue that just doesn't really factor in at all. There we go. I'm also finding out right now that it's really easy to accidentally like swing these in bad slots and bending your tools. So right now the assembly thing is a problem, but I'm going to go on a very short break for like 10 to 20 seconds. I need to refill the fluids because I am parched. And then now that we've assembled all this bullshit, I'm also going to clear some of the space here. We're going to actually go, I have a bunch of locks that you don't see in the background. We're going to go and we're going to use this on these type of locks. So stay tuned. Just enjoy the music for a bit. I'll be right back. Oh, and also, once again, I am still trying to raise money for Doctors Without Borders to help all the injured people, especially kids out in Palestine. If you do want to, and they also, by the way, help injured Israelis. Just want to make a note: they have no allegiance to anyone. They're just there to help sick and injured people, which is why it's even more worse that the Israeli Defense Force shoots at them all the time. But then again, as we've also seen, they shoot at their own Israeli citizens, just like the way the NYPD does. So, duh. But regardless, If you want to donate money to help out what's going on in Palestine and disasters around the world, because we're essentially World War III right now, just posted a link in the page. There's also a widget we have on Twitch and a QR that I promise is not man in the middle of attack in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. Right now, we are literally $35 from halfway to our goal. You don't have to donate live, but if you do it live, I get like a little notification and I worship you the entire stream. And it doesn't take much. You don't have to donate $50 like Murph did, although I highly thank Murph for donating that $50 to a great cause. But you can donate like $1 or $5 or $8 or $10. Just all those little amounts added up, which is how we got over nearly halfway to our goal in the first place. So just putting that out there. So anyhow, I need to go fill and rehydrate, and we're going to get to actually some fucking lockpicking. Because, this frustrating piece of shit. Stay tuned. Let's see if it picks better and is more useful. And thank you for following us on Twitch, I believe. So thank you for following us. And stay tuned. Just give me a couple of seconds, and we'll see if the Covert Companion is way more easy, convenient, and helpful as a lockpick set than it was to fucking assemble this nightmare. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. And we are back. Let's go to desktop mode. Actually, let's go to just chatting. All right, so my big head is back here. So hi, I'm Sidepocket. For those who didn't die during the past hour and a half of me assembling this stupid thing, welcome to the Master of Unlocking. which is one of the 2 shows I have on the the DCG 201 channel, formerly known as DEFCON 201 or DC 201, where we learn about physical security, mainly locks and how to lockpick and things like that. And what we've been testing out is we got, finally, the Covert Companion from Covert Instruments. My friend SuHacker lent it to me in order to do this episode because she got one for herself. And after an hour and a half, we finally assembled this piece of shit. This was so annoying to assemble. I've had to disassemble and reassemble locks with multiple ball bearings in them and small moving pins and stuff. This is annoying. I've never had to do that for like an hour and a half. You can go back to the thing where we had to repin those 4 locks in a row, which I have over here. And yeah, that took shorter than this. Even though I admit that there was 2 steps that I was confused and missing on when I did this. By the way, if you see me with my hands and stuff, I'm going to hygienically wipe this down so I'm not transferring snot and piss and stuff on here, so don't worry about that. SuHacker's going to get this all sanitized and everything assembled because I did all the hard work for her, which is why she's the smart person. But even then, this was frustrating to assemble because everything was so small and yeah. Anyhow, now that this is assembled, and I'm going to give its assembly like a 4 out of 10, I'm now going to try this on a ton of different locks that you see all here.
Just received
some
or
are also
about to receive your new Covert Companion kit.
So it's going to be
there are a lot of parts to put together before it can look like this. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you my recommended assembly method
and I also
and to give
have
you a few
with me
tips on
my
usage.
everyday carry. So I
before
can
I
actually
start, if
compare
my
some of the
inbox is
stuff
any
in here
indication,
here.
there
It's
were
already
a
going to be
lot of
interesting
you
because this is
disappointed
not
by
a
an
standard
out-of-stock
picking
sign.
handle. In fact, I saw
For all those
one of the
people,
videos that
we anticipate to be
needs to use
stocked
like
with
a
even
hand,
greater
like
quantities
a
of
weird
most products sold
L-shaped
on
position to do the actual
covertinstruments.com,
like a raking
including
and
the Covert
lockpicking.
Companion.
So we'll see
sometime the
about
week
that. But
after
first thing I think we
Thanksgiving.
should test
More on that
is
as the
this
date
clear,
approaches. So, on
this
to
clear
assembly.
padlock.
The kit
I'm actually
comes
gonna
with
stand up for
all of
this.
these parts. I don't have a kit
First thing
all
we're gonna
nicely
test is this
packaged
clear
because
padlock.
they
By the
all
way,
went out to you, but the parts are the same.
As I said
Now,
before
whether
the
you
break,
assemble
I'm
this
trying to
with
raise
just
money
the
for Doctors
included
Without
tools,
Borders,
or you add other
which is
tools
an
or
amazing
keys of your
cause
own choosing,
that
the thing to remember while
they're
assembling
helping
is
out the
that some
current
tools
Palestinian
can't be
conflict,
directly across
helping
from
out
each other.
both Palestinians
That's why we have
and Israelis
spacers
that are
to
being
make
injured,
them
which is why
nest side by
the
side.
Israeli
But to make
government
this
is
easy,
making it
if
very
you are
difficult for them.
just
They're also
using the
deployed in
included
many
tools,
different natural
this is my
disasters in the United
recommendation
States
for
around the world.
assembly.
If you want to help
Let's
out,
start
whether it's
with
the Palestinian
this side of the
conflict or anywhere
handle
else, a bunch
and
of
get
volunteer doctors who are doing this
2
completely for
of
free.
the
I just posted a
extension
link in the
pieces.
page. There's also the
They're
QR
part
code you
of
can
the
scan
expansion
or use
pack
the
and put
widget
one
on
on each
our
side.
Twitch. Doesn't have to be a lot. You don't have to be Murph
Then
and
find
donate
the 2
$50. Although
shortest
that would be appreciated.
screws.
In fact, if you want to knock Murph
They
off
should
of his
have
top
little
donation, you
rubber
can literally
O-rings
donate
on
like
them. If they don't have them,
$50.50
find
or
them and put
$50
them
or
on.
like
They
$51
are
and troll
very
him.
important for assembly
Them, I should say.
because
But
they allow the
we're
tools
overall
to move after the
$35
screws are
to our
tightened
halfway
down.
goal, and we're going to keep doing this until
So,
March.
we're going to
So I
start
hope,
on this side,
see
and the
some
first
donations,
tool to
because
go
if you
on
do,
is
it
the
pops up and I
traveler
worship
hook.
you forever. I will
top
also
of
get
that
I won't worship you forever,
is
but I
a
will
knife
shout you
tool.
out if you do follow us on
Then we're
Twitch,
going to put a washer,
YouTube,
and that's followed by the
Twitch,
4
YouTube, and Kick.
4 of the warded
For
picks.
Odyssey, you have to donate some crypto.
Each
and
one
Peer2
should be
doesn't have any of that
separated
because they're
by
a good streaming platform
one
service.
of these little
But yeah, you also
spacers.
just follow us. We get a notification for those. We cheer you on. So, this is the clear lock that I use for demoing everything. As you can see, it's completely transparent. There are 6 pins in here, and let's start experimenting on this guy. So, I will say it is kind of spiffy, kind of spreading all these tools out. Although it's a little,
On top of these
maybe it's
tools
because I'm not
are
used to it, but it's a little kind
2
of
of the jigglers.
like they kind of show this as like
Again,
a
they are
all one
separated
thing,
by
but it's like actually kind of
spacers.
hard to flip out here, in my opinion. So we're gonna do some classic stuff. Remember, I'm evaluating this as a lockpicker who also teaches. So we're gonna start
Then we're
off
going
with
to
the
cap
hooks
this off with another
that we
spacer.
installed in. For comparison, this is a
Okay, let's
Sparrow's
move to
short
the other
hook.
side. We're going to start
And
with a
if we look at the
spacer
profiles,
because that's right across from the
Sparrow's
traveler
has
hook.
that little wiggle in the middle that I kind of like.
Then we're going to
And
get
also by comparison,
our notch decoder and our utility shim. Put
by
them on
comparison,
together.
the Covert Instruments one at the bottom is
They're followed by a
has
spacer
bigger girth,
and 4 combs,
shorter tipped with
each
a slight
separated by a
bend
spacer.
and a wide tip end, compared to this extremely slender to a point, you can cut yourself sort of with that type of hook. Similar rounded one with the medium hook, and I have an odd feeling that the medium hook my medium hook, which I only have currently in 15,000ths of an inch, is probably steeper, maybe. We're going to find out in a second.
Now a spacer,
than the
and then
medium hook
our
on the
fifth
Covert
pick.
Instruments tool. So, yeah, it's overall steeper and
Another
longer, and
spacer,
again, it
and
comes to
our
that
last
narrow
jiggler.
point in the middle for sparrows, whereas opposed to the Covert Instrument one, it's
And
shorter
one more
and fatter.
spacer.
And that's for like reaching around
think the
like
one on
high
this side
security
fell off,
pins,
so let's
although
put
again,
that back
usually if you're
on.
doing with security locks, even high, low, high standards, you're going to be using like 18 to
Okay,
15
now
thousandths
let's
of an
get
inch,
our two
things like
hooks.
that. So let's actually try the single pin pick. We're going to do the short hook because we won't need the medium hook for this. So I'm going to
Put
first
them
try to do it
on
like
the
you
other
would with a
side.
normal lockpick, which
Our
is
two
apparently how you're
rakes.
not supposed to do this. And then I'm going to actually
Going to
try
put
this
them on as well.
with the way they kind of recommend it. So I'm going to go with
All of these
I'm all
pieces
cooked
can
up.
be
The other
pushed out
reason
of the
why I
way.
need my kit,
And let's
I'm going to
flip
take
this
these out
over
right now, all of them,
and close the handle up.
and just one of this guy is I need
Going to
tension
just
wrenches
start that screw
because
with my
this doesn't
fingernail.
come with tension wrenches for the base kit,
After
but
I
as
get
we're
it
going to see in the
started, we
video
can use
later,
a
there is
screwdriver
an
to tighten it
expansion
down.
you can buy that I think is really cool. Maybe in the future I'll buy it for SuHacker and then I'll add it and she can add it, although I'm just dreading disassembling and reassembling this piece of shit because it took like an hour and a half. But they do have a cool system where it's basically like a sleeve that pops out with tension wrenches, and you can pull the tension
Okay,
wrench
if we
out,
did that right
use it,
with a
put it
little bit
back
of
in, which I
shuffling,
think is a great
they should all
solution.
fit inside
But
of
yeah,
each
let's just do your basic tension.
Perfect.
It's my big long
Okay,
tensioner
now that we
I
have
like
that
'cause I like
assembled,
them big and long.
we're going to try it out
And
and
we're
open
gonna
this master
I'm gonna
lock
do it
in a couple
traditionally
different
first.
ways.
And we're gonna see how
We're going to
this goes.
start the hardest possible way by single pin picking it with our short hook.
You know,
I'm
I
going
can
to
already
hold it
see
with
the
a little bit of a
advantage to
pistol
such a
grip
big
like
handle
this.
because of have this focus. A big handle
1,
because
2,
of the
3, 4 is binding.
like more for comfort.
Click there, pulling back.
If this is the
Click out of
shittiest
2.
lock on purpose, it's
Click
designed to
on
work
1,
on
click out
everything.
of 3,
Then we're gonna get to some real locks.
click out of
So,
1, and we got this open.
that was not bad.
Okay, that
actually,
was the
doing
hardest
normal
way.
single pin picking with this
Let's
type
get one of
lock.
our
They
rakes out
recommend
and
doing
try
like this weird
a
angle
way
pick
that's a
method,
little bit
which
easier.
I guess would give you like more control on it, and you're supposed to like lean your hand on it. Just like I remember seeing it. I wasn't able to download the video, but the
Again, I'm
instruction
using the
short
same pistol
talked
grip.
about this.
That was pretty quick. Let's try that again. Make
Although
sure that
it
wasn't
feels
a
like it's
fluke.
way harder for me to do pins in the back
Nope,
than
that's
it
just
would be
really
to
easy
do
to
the ones
rake.
immediately in the
And the
front.
final
which I
way to
find
open this, which
fascinating.
should be the easiest,
Yeah, it seems like
is
that type of
using
style
a
is good for
cone
like the
pick.
pins in the middle. I'm having
Because this is
tons
a
of
Master
problems
141.
right now
Everyone I've ever run
trying to
across has been
feel
susceptible to
and get that
combing.
first pin that's in the front right there. I keep getting the second pin. There we go. So that was a little tricky. I'm also going to try the rakes
folks,
while we're at
this
it
is
on
a
this one.
really
Again, I will try
versatile
the rakes
tool, and
on the
I want you
other
to know
ones
that we
later.
actually have more inserts planned for it in the near future, probably in the first half of 2021.
Again, I guess when you get used to it, it's
But
really
that's all I
easier
have for
to
you today.
kind of
If
get the
you
ones
do have
that
any
you
questions
want,
or
but right now
comments
I'm kind
about
of
this,
struggling with
please
it.
put them below.
So
If you
again, we
like this
have two
video
rakes,
and would like to see more like
don't
it, please
have
subscribe. And
the
as
equivalent
always,
here.
have
Most
a nice
kits,
day. Thank you.
like the Sparrows, will come with a triple peak, and Sparrows has a very unique triple peak called the Worm, which I prefer as my triple peak because usually the problems with triple peaks is that they have really sharp edges, and the Worm, a little bit similar to these two-wave rakes, have curved, like smoother bumps on them, so they're not sticking to points. This has this similar sort of curve, and that's probably because the Sparrow's equivalent to these that I don't have is called the Wicked Weaves. You can also get them on Tool's website, as well as on Lockpick Extreme, because Christina Palmer, who the full name of is Christina Palmer's Wicked Weaves, is the person who runs Lockpick Extreme. She makes fantastic gear. I can't wait to test them because I'm going to finally get I already have regressive tumblers, but I can't wait to get her picks and some of her other unique things and try them out. But I figured we would try the wake on the really stupid clear lock before we use them on real locks. So we have 2 wavelengths here. The top one is called, I believe, the sinoid, and the bottom one's called the sinoid. It's basically the spacing. So the top wave rake has 5 peaks. Look at Weaves also have 4 and 5 peak variants of these wavelengths, but these are like the 2 most common. I would also choose this if I had a limited set. And let me move over a bit. There we go. Kind of. Can we get this thing? Sorry for it being weird. I'm just trying to adjust the cam. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to rotate the computer more and hope nothing pops. There we go. Okay. But yeah, so the top one, the spacing is a lot closer together between the 5 humps, and then the 4 humped one, there's a wider spacing to them. What this should do is for particularly 5 to 6 pin locks, yeah, this basically rakes them to shreds because there's the bumps after you get 4 plus bumps is so spread out that you are hitting every single pin. Hold on. You're hitting, there we go, every single pin equally because it's the length of the entire rake. For comparison, the buzzing thing is hilarious. The wrong kit. By comparison, the triple peaks that you get, they're good for, they work on 4 pinners, they'll work on 5 or 6 pinners, but when you particularly get to 6 pins, you have to like actually do the speed and everything to go back and forth to engage all the pins because you're only dealing with about 3, maybe 4 at the same time. So you have to really do that vigorous teeth brushing movement in order to engage with all of them. Which is why I appreciate that that Covert Instruments shows the 4 and 5 peak ones because technically, which we're going to test in a bit, it should do the 3 peak ones, and in addition, it should do the bigger ones and at higher frequencies. The other thing I want to test before we move on here is there should be here, I'm getting used to the layout, here it is, so another tool that I don't have that I hope to order in separately for my kit, and that is this sort of shank knife. It's a little pokey thing. It's 20 thousandths of an inch. 25 thousandths of an inch. Pretty sturdy. And what it's designed to do is it's a bypass. It's something I haven't been able to properly show on the show yet. Where what we're doing is we're going to bypass all the pins, and we're going to go back and we're going to actually use that knife edge to deal with the actuator to open it. Now, this is the thing. This is dual wedges for the shackle. So I actually have to A, pull up on the shackle, and 2, is I have to go in, and if this works, it's a little hard to angle this. Because you can tell, especially because of how short it is, that this was way more designed to do the single ones. But the double ones, you have to pull up on the shackle, and you have to and you move them like, there we go. You have to move them a bit at a time. So that was 1. Because if you don't, there we go. It has to do both pulls. So that actually, so I moved in one side and I had to go and move the other. If I don't have that pulling force on the shackle when I do it, as soon as I release the tension on one side of the shackle, it's going to pop back directly in and not open. I'll try to do that again, more in camera frame this time. Let's see which way I can get this. That's one wedge, that one on the left. Now I'm going to try to grab the one on the right without dropping it. hard to do because I'm used to like these. I'm used to ones with like full. Whatchamacallit. I'm gonna stop here. I'm used to ones that are like full. Like it really actually shows me how much the handle has to do it, because obviously with this it's just gonna move around. So you have to like hold it at its base here, and that makes it, your fingers basically are getting in the way, so you can't really go back here. So these were more designed for, which this won't work on, but it was designed for like, you see how much like not room there is. So this is designed for a lock that's the size that you would open as instant bypass, as opposed to something this big and this chunky. Like if this for some reason was unshielded, like look at this, this is also reset. There'd be, even if this was like base pins and everything and unshielded, there'd be no way I could like actually get in there and properly do that. So that's what this is more for. When I get a full size one of these, we'll be able to revisit bypasses again. So that was the clear lock. Let's start working on some other locks. So before we quite get to the real locks, I have some tumblers here. And I actually realized, let me go on break. Let me get a bunch of like tissue so I can unclog my nose occasionally. I'll be right back.
And a whole bunch of you either just received or are about to receive your new Covert Companion kit. There are a lot of parts to put together before it can look like this, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you my recommended assembly method and to give you a few tips on usage. But before I start, if my inbox is any indication, there were a lot of you disappointed by an out-of-stock sign. For all those people, we anticipate to be stocked with even greater quantities of most products sold on covertinstruments.com, including the Covert Companion, sometime the week after Thanksgiving. More on that as the date approaches. So, on to assembly. The kit comes with all of these parts. I don't have a kit all nicely packaged because they all went out to you, but the parts are the same. Now, whether you assemble this with just the included tools or you add other tools or keys of your own choosing, the thing to remember while assembling is that some tools can't be directly across from each other. That's why we have spacers to make them nest side by side. But to make this easy, if you are just using the included tools, this is my recommendation for assembly. Let's start with this side of the handle and get 2 of the extension pieces. They're part of the expansion pack, and put 1 on each side. Then find the 2 shortest screws. They should have little rubber O-rings on them. If they don't have them, find them and put them on. They are very important for assembly because they allow the tools to move after the screws are tightened down. So we're going to start on this side, and the first tool to go on is the traveler hook. On top of that is a knife tool. Then we're going to put a washer, and that's followed by the 4 of the warded picks. Each one should be separated by,
I forgot to turn my mic on. So anyway, we're back. Again, I have 4 to 6 pinners here, 1 from Tool, which I'm working on right now, and 5 6 pins from the Lockpick Extreme. And I'm going to single pin pick them first, and then I'm going to rake them and see how they go. And again, I probably should have freaking, lubed these
On top
I
of these
eventually have to get
tools
replacements
are
for them because I've had them for like
two of the
3+
jigglers.
years now, and despite me lubing
Again, they
them
are
and caring for
separated
them,
by
they are kind of
spacers.
falling apart at this point. And again, I'm starting to realize, like...
And we're going to cap this off with another spacer.
It's really hard to get like a feel.
Okay, let's move to the other
with
side.
how short these are.
We're going to start with
Like
a spacer.
even with the handle, which
that's
is
right
helping my
across
balance,
from the traveler
I'm
hook.
really starting to like run into the same exact problem.
And we're going to get
that I did when I did
our
the punch
notch
out card.
decoder and our
Kind of
utility
short
shim.
tools are, which adds honestly
Put them
to
on
like
together.
my opinion.
They're followed
that
by
I remember
a spacer
formulating about this Covert
and
Companion
4 combs, each
before I
separated by a
even got it.
spacer.
But again, I'm not going to do pure judgment on something until I properly whatchamacallit, I need down for this. Until I properly do it. And to be honest, eventually I'm probably going to end up vicing these just because it's...
And then
I was supposed to be like heading home by now if we started on time. My fault. That wasn't open. That just
another spacer and our last jiggler. And one more spacer.
Honestly, I'm just going to vice these.
And I think the one on this side fell off, so let's put
I
that
don't
back
normally
on.
vice these, but I've reached that point in the night.
Okay, now let's get our 2 hooks.
So it's going to look a little upside down, so I apologize.
And put them
But
on
I'm
the
getting
other
tired.
side.
And
Our 2 rakes.
also, more realistically, this is how they would be held up in a roll in the first place. And honestly, also,
all of these pieces can be pushed out of the way. Then let's flip this over.
Like full
close
stop,
the
like
handle
the grip on these. Because
going
it's
to
so
just start
short.
that screw with my fingernail.
I just realized that this
After I get it started, we can
delay,
use a
so
screwdriver to tighten it down.
Let's get this a bit back.
Okay, if we did that right with a little bit of shuffling, they should all fit inside of each other.
It's really hard to get pins in the back with these because
okay, now that we have that assembled, we're going to try it out and open this master lock in a couple different ways. We're going to start the hardest possible way by single pin picking it
So
with
I'm going to
our
go for the
short
shorter
hook.
wavelength
I'm going to
first,
hold
and
it
then we'll
with a
do the
little bit
higher
of a
frequency
pistol
one.
grip like this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 is binding. Click there, pulling back. That was a click out of 2. Nothing on 1. Click out of 3. Click out of 1, and we got this open. Okay, that was the hardest way.
I'm actually
Let's
going to
get
try
one of
a
our
shorter
rakes
and
out and try
solves any problems here.
A way that's a little bit easier.
Nope, that basically opened it. Shit. Okay, so it is possible, which should mean that the sinusoid one, the one that has
Again, I'm using the same pistol grip.
Way more bumps in it, should
that was pretty quick. Let's try that again. Make sure that wasn't a fluke.
So if I can get it out, and that's my other problem is I don't know if I
that's
set
just
this up
really
wrong or whatever,
rake.
but I feel like
final
it's
way to
easier
open
to get
this,
a group of
which
tools
should
out,
be the
like all
easiest,
the worded bypasses or all
is
of one
using
thing,
a
and to get
comb
one
pick.
specific tool. That takes some time
Because
for
this
me.
is a Master 141. Everyone I've ever run across has been susceptible to combing.
Okay, so that does work. Doesn't work as fast as when I do it with my
folks,
full hand set.
This
that
is
does
a
work.
really
Let's go back to
versatile
the single
tool,
pin picking now.
and I want you to know that
So
we
that we know
actually
that
have
works.
more inserts planned for it in the
It
near
is
future.
really
Probably
hard
in
to
the
get
first half
singular
of
tools out of this. I'm
2021.
actually surprised.
But that's all I have for you today. If you do have any questions or comments about this, please put them below. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, please subscribe. And as always, have a nice day. Thank you.
Also, to be honest, really hard for me. I like how it stays in there, though. It's really hard for me to cover, to get pins that I dropped with such low profiles. I'm actually curious about something now. I wonder if, because of how low the profiles are, if top of the keyway tension is probably better. Because that should give me like most of the room at the bottom. And honestly, because of the lack of feel, because of how short they are, I would really prefer if I keep hearing them drop. This had a notch pick, just if this short hook had a notch in it, just so I could get way better feedback of what the fuck's going on. That's just me. And again, don't worry, when I give this back to SuHacker, I'm literally going to take like a sanitized chemical towel and just sanitize the fuck out of this. So don't worry about like me accidentally giving my friend like salmonella or whatever. So yeah, we have plenty of more locks to go, but I don't know, it doesn't instill confidence in me that and it could also just be the cylinder itself. I might have to lube it, but this was really hard to single pin pick. It's a little tricky to rake, but I got used to it. Really hard to single pin pick so far. Now we have the 5-pinner. And because of the way things are going, I'm going to attempt to... God damn, it's so hard to get an individual tool out of this. I'm going to attempt to... Like, this is something where I'm pretty sure after a while muscle memory you can solve, but this is still... like, ugh. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to... I'm going to rake these first. I'm going to use the sinusoid one, the wider one first. It's only 4 humps. And then I'm going to do... Come on, these used to fit in here. Good. And then I'm going to do the... Here we go. Then I'm going to do the... oh, there we go. I'm going to do the... but since I have that done... Ooh, that was kind of stiff. Maybe these do need to be sprayed. Huh. But when we do the, like, real locks, that's when we're going to find out if, like, these were too stiff and they need to be lubed. Later ones will definitely be a skill issue. That one opens. It's really hard to turn back. Oh, hang on. Wait a minute. That's probably why. Okay, I need to recess this more in the vise because I forget that the way the turning tool works is, let me move it up here. I have better grip on it. Is that the entire back of the core rotates, and so the back of the vise is actually preventing that from happening. So now that that's clear from there, let's try this. And then maybe I need to redo that for the base number 4. And that's been the problem this entire time. Let me just rake it first to see if there's any improvement. I also feel like, because of the shorter profiles of these rakes, that it's way easier to... Yeah, it's harder to... Hang on. Why is it... Something's going on here. Why is it so much harder? No problems there. That's so weird. No problems there, but when I put it at the bottom of the keyway... Maybe it's because it drag sticks in there. That could also be a reason. Fascinating. But let's go back to single pin picking it. See what we can maybe improve. Let's do something thinner. I don't want to use my thinnest one, not yet at least. That's because it's slightly paracentric keyway here. Not by much, these are still beginner tumblers. We're going to go in. And I can hear and feel certain pins dropping in there. Yeah, the shorter, not only is it providing less feedback, but I feel like because of how short this is, it has a hard time reaching pins in the back. So I'm going to sum this up in my analysis, but so far, I would not recommend the picks on the single pin picking parts of the Covert Companion for lock bodies that are like maybe 4 pins, but definitely 5 pins and longer. This is way harder to do than if I had a full-size normal set of lock picks from Covert Instruments or Sparrows or Southboard or hell even the cheap-ass Chinese picks if they fit in the fucking keyway. I feel like I'm almost there though. I think number 5 just dropped in the back again. And I would recommend Covert Instruments so far that because of the lack of feedback on these things, that it would be a huge improvement if this short hook, especially with how truly short and fat it is, for it to have a notch in it so I could better feel about like what's going on in this fucking lock than I currently do. So yeah, I don't give any hopes for, because so far basically with a little finessing, although it's a little bit more difficult, I can rake these locks open, these practice tumblers, but it's been extremely difficult so far to single pin pick them. And even though I expect the same results, let's line up this 6-pinner. And see if we have the same results. We're going to have the short profile here. We're going to rake it first. And after these, we're going to go for like, we're going to try the basic normal amount of pins, and then we're going to keep going up. And then we're going to get to like more security stuff and unique stuff, and then like I have something to decode and a pair of handcuffs. As well as like ward blocks and things. So this is the 4-bump sinusoid. Really hard to get that toothbrush thing going on. And to be honest, let's reset. I feel like, again, probably because of the smaller size, but I feel like that the rakes are better if you wiggle them up and down than doing the usual back and forth and slightly up and down motions. Like if you just use them like a city rake, they seem to operate better. But this is the 5 sinusoid. This should hit all 6 pins beautifully, so let's see how we deal about that. I feel like I'm almost getting it, but not really. It's so confusing. Ooh, man, I hope people donate even like $5 during the stream, because this has been such a loop for me. I'm going to kind of compare lockpicking lawyer's video at the end because, you know, again, he's a wizard. He designed this. This is based off of his everyday carry. But, you know, I'm like intermediate. This is my first time using this. I've never even used a jackknife before. So it's kind of also interesting, both skill issue and just like usage when I'm used to with lockpicks. About what he's doing opposed to me. So let me get the single pin picks out, which I'm not confident in considering I can't even rake open the 6-pinner. See what I do. It'd be funny if this one is the one that actually opens. That would make me laugh so hard. It's so hard to get that 6th and 5th pin back there. So I feel like these picks are more designed for low security locks that are 4 pins rather than anything 5 or 6 pin. Again, I couldn't even open the basic 4, so I'm gonna stop this here. It's like I can almost not feel anything. And again, this would be so much better to feel if this had a notch in it. Get some hydration going. Now, with this stuff, I'm going to attempt to hand hold it because we're going to breeze through most of this. But now, instead of the practice tumblers, we're going to use real locks. And this will also allow us to use some very interesting and unique bypassing tools that you've never seen me use on this show. So the first one is going to be this Master Lock 140. I always consider these are the easiest real locks to pick in general. Although I never say, oh, they're easy and you should expect to open it immediately because not this one, but I remember when someone gave me a Master Lock number 3 for the first time 6 years ago, it literally took me an entire week to figure out how to open it. Partly because of stuff that they didn't tell me about that I had to find out by myself, including things that I never saw anyone mention in the video. But this is the 140, and what's so interesting about the 140 is that technically it's supposed to be higher security than the Master Lock number 3 in terms of pin core because it does have a spool pin in it. But that security spool pin, because it's a Master Lock, is implemented so incredibly poorly that it basically doesn't factor into, basically you treat the spool pin like if it was a standard pin, and thus this is also incredibly easy to rake, and that's what we're going to start off with first. And again, the low profile, just like it did when I had the lockpicking cards, is making this tricky. I also probably should have grabbed one that was a little bit like worn for wear here. Let's try the more spread out one here. So far, I can't jiggle it open. Well, let's try single pin picking it, because it's usually pretty easy to do. And again, these are the newer ones, and I find that the newer ones that I bought are kind of odd. They might have like a defect in them that I'm unsure about. But let's try. See, the fact that I'm having a hard time single pin picking these does not give me confidence about the more higher security, more demanding locks. So that bothers me. So I think this is going to be the first time. Again, maybe I should have grabbed one of my older, warier ones, but which I might in a bit. Just because this also just might be a defect with these newer Master Lock 140s I bought, but I want to try a bypass that I've tried before, but not with it configured in this way. And so as you know, the Covert Companion has these cone picks. And the way they work, and I'll actually show it to you on the clear lock, even though it's not going to open it, is that if the lock is unfortunately designed where there's too much space, you can actually push those key pins and driver pins all the way up into this upper casing of what's called the Bible here, which would mean that all the pins go above the shear line, and you should be able to basically instantly open it as if it was the key. So this particular lock is susceptible to this type of attack. And the key here is that I have to find out exactly where it goes underneath the pins, which is a little difficult. And then it's not in yet, but there should be a thing where it lifts to the shear line. Here we go. So you know what? I know I keep saying this. I'm going to have a short break. I'm going to get a different 140 out. I'll be right back. All right, just because these newer Master Lock
and a whole bunch of you
140s
either
might
just
be a little
received
too
or are
stiff,
about to receive your new
because I have to keep
Covert
relubing
Companion
them.
kit.
I got the 140D,
There are a lot of
and I
parts
got
to put
two,
together before it can look
kind of
like
warm
this,
for wear
so I
ones
thought I'd
here.
take the opportunity to
So
show you
first
my
I'm going to try the
recommended
cone
assembly
pick on
method
one of
and
these
to give
warm
you a
for
few
wear
tips
ones,
on
so,
usage.
because I find more
before I
success with
start,
these, so
if
yeah.
my inbox is any
Stick them up,
indication,
yep,
there were
underneath,
a lot
and
of
you
you
see how it
disappointed
goes.
by an out-of-stock
Let me
sign.
try it again.
For all those people, we anticipate to be stocked with even greater quantities of most products sold on
So I find the
CovertInstruments.com,
exact
including the Covert Companion, sometime the
way
week
this goes
after
underneath one of the
Thanksgiving.
pins here.
More on that as the date
Should be right
approaches.
here.
So,
Nope.
on to assembly.
Right there.
The kit
It
comes
goes,
with
notice how
all of
my
these
fingers
parts. I
went
don't
all
have
the
the
way
kit
up into
all
that lock
nicely
body. That means
packaged
all the
because
pins are up
they
there,
all
and
went
then I
out to
just turn it
you,
like the
but the
key,
parts are the
and
same.
it opens.
Now, whether you assemble this with just
So
the included
that's how
tools
these work.
or you add other
I'm going
tools
to
or
stand
keys
up
of
at
your
an
own
angle and
choosing,
do it again.
the thing to remember while assembling is that some
So
tools can't be
again, I
directly
just found that
across from
exact
each
point
other.
where underneath
That's why we
goes
have
up all the way to
spacers
that
to
lock
make
body,
them
and I
nest
can just turn it
side
like
by
a key,
side.
and it
But to make
opens.
this easy, if you are just using the included
And
tools,
because
this is my recommendation
these
for
are
assembly.
all the same.
Let's start with this side of the handle and get
Let's get a little stuck when you
two
put them in,
of
like
the
all the way.
extension pieces.
Because
They're part
these are
of
all
the
the same
expansion
model,
pack, and put one on
the
each side.
140Ds are basically
Then find the
the same
two
exact
shortest
inners, except they're
screws.
plastic.
They should
And
have
unlike
little
picking them,
rubber
I find it
O-rings
that
on
it's
them.
actually
If they
usually
don't
even
have them,
easier
find them and
to
put
just
them
find
on.
that exact
They
spot
are
open.
very
I have
important
no
for
idea.
assembly because they
This
allow
is
the
kind of the
tools to
newer
move
3-pack.
after the screws
Either
are
there's
tightened
something
down.
off about them, or they're
So,
like too stiff
we're going
or
to start
something.
on this side,
Makes
and
it
the first
really
tool to go
hard
on is the traveler
to
hook.
find where the
On
hell
top
it's
of
supposed
that
to be, and they're more
is a
annoying to
knife
pick.
tool.
And I don't think that
Then
has
we're
to do
going to
with
put a
like
washer,
that Master Lock got
and that's
ingenious
followed
and
by the
solved some
4
issues.
or
I
4
literally
of the
think these
worded
might have
picks.
like slight defects in them. You can rake
Each
them,
one
but
should
they're
be
like harder to
separated
pick
by
overall for some reason. and
one of these little
the comb
spacers.
technique almost doesn't work on them, and I don't know why. So far, we haven't been able to single pin pick something open yet, but we're getting there. So the next one we're going to try here is the Master Lock number 3. This is the gold standard in like easy locks to open. So we're going to test the Covert Companion with it. Again, I'm going to rake it first, and then I'm going to
2 of the jigglers.
I also want to recognize that I'm also
Again,
kind
they
of
are
tired
separated by
because that was a lot of
spacers.
energy assembling this piece of shit, even with the amount of mistakes that I made in it. I'm going to go in. This is going to be the 4-pin one here.
And we're going to cap this off with another spacer. Okay, let's move to the other side.
I feel like with
We're
these,
going to
it's
start
like I
with a
almost get
spacer
it.
because that's right
I just
across
started to
from the
turn.
traveler hook.
It's like I almost get it, but I don't.
Then we're going to
I don't
get
know why.
our notch decoder
try it
and
again.
our utility shim. Put them on together. They're followed by a spacer and the 4 combs, each separated by a spacer.
All right, let's try the sinusoid one, the 5-bumped one with the higher frequency here. God, it's so hard to take an individual pin out. Like, I know you could probably get used to this. I feel like this, honestly, I feel like right now Covert Companion for me is like Common Core math, where I could see someone who like started
now a
off on
spacer,
this
and then
getting good at it.
Our 5th
But
worded
for
pick.
me, like I learned with traditional picks that are full size,
Another
even without
spacer
handles.
and our last
So
jiggler.
like doing these sort of half-size things, but with this giant back end,
And one more
really
spacer.
throws me off.
I think the one on this
Actually,
side fell off,
this
so
one
let's
again.
put that back on.
Throw in the vise.
Okay, now let's get our 2 hooks.
I'm tired. This we don't have to put that much in it because I want to make sure the shackle pops out. That should
Put
be good
them
enough.
on the other side. Our 2 rakes. Going to put them on as well.
Angle. So hopefully that.
All of these
shackle can
pieces
pop
can
out
be pushed
decently.
out of the way. And let's flip
Alright.
this over
Put this in here.
and close the handle up. Going to just start that screw with my fingernail.
Try this again.
And after I
My
get it
hands are getting
started, we
tired.
can use a screwdriver to tighten it down.
It's like I almost get it, but I don't. That's been like the theme for all of these rakes.
Okay, if we did
I
that
feel
right
like
with
you
a
need
little
the
bit of
full-
shuffling,
like
they
if you're
should
taught
all
traditional like
fit
me, you need
inside
that
of
like
each other.
full handle in order to like.
Perfect. Okay, now that we have that assembled, we're
Not
going
used
to
to
try it
holding
out
like
and
a
open this
gun,
master lock in a
essentially.
couple different ways. We're going to start the hardest possible
Okay, it could be
way
a skill
by
issue. I don't
single
know,
pin
but let's try
picking it
single pin picking it. Ironically enough,
with
it
our
doesn't
short
have
hook.
all
I'm
the
going to hold
this
it with a little bit
4-pinner
of a
lock.
pistol grip like
Doesn't
this.
have all the space at the top. So funny enough, you can't comb pick it properly. I'll show you what I mean.
Okay, 1, 2, 3,
you can't
4
like
is
it's really
binding.
hard to get underneath there and to go up.
Click there.
And also
pulling
because
back.
of the way this S curves at the
There's a click
bottom,
out of
there's
2.
an angle off on it. And this was actually the
On
lock
1,
where
click out
when
of
I initially
3.
tested comb picks on it,
Click out
the
of
comb
1
pick
and we
actually
got
got
this
stuck
open.
in the
Okay, that was the
boarding.
hardest way. Let's get one of our rakes
So
out
that
and
was
try
really
it
fascinating.
a way that's a little bit
So let me get
easier.
out my short hook for this guy. We're going to go in and we'll see what magic might happen. God, I am getting sleepy. I'm hoping to wrap
Again,
this
I'm
up in the
using the
next
same
like
pistol
15,
grip.
20 minutes max. Because this is just, let me get
That
a
was
little
pretty quick. Let's try that again. Make sure that wasn't a fluke.
Because, man, did I lose a lot of brain cells trying to
Nope,
assemble
that's
this
just
fucking
really
thing.
easy to rake. And the final way to open this, which should be the easiest, is using a comb pick. Because this is a Master 141,
And
everyone
yeah,
I've
that
ever run across has
short
been
hook
susceptible to combing.
would be a billion times better and easier to use because of the way how this is profiled. if it had
Okay,
like
folks,
an actual
this is a really
notch in it,
versatile
'cause
tool,
otherwise, yeah, I'm gonna give
and
up.
I want you to know that
Really
we
hard
actually
to
have
feel
more
in here.
inserts
And
planned
again,
for it
I'm
in
pretty
the near
sure there's
future,
a
probably in
technique
the
that I'm
first
not
half
using or
of
perfecting that would be able to
2021.
do this.
But that's all I have for you
that's not
today. If
happening.
you
So,
do have any questions or
let's
comments
get
about this,
into
please put them
some
below.
more
If you like this
esoteric
video and
locks,
would
and
like
we'll
to
go
see
back
more
to
like
pin
it, please
tumbler
subscribe.
ones.
And as always, have a
Now,
nice day. Thank you.
because this is a wafer lock, this should, let me figure out something here. Okay, yeah, I put it upside down by accident. This should just open with the jigglers. So the way this is supposed to open, it's one side, so we're going to use the one-sided jiggler, as I was told, is that you're supposed to jiggle it, wiggle it around, and use like a torque tension on it. It should instantly open. We're going to find out. Because I'll put it this way. Every time I use a jiggler on this, I haven't had any success on it. Oh, finally I did. Except that was only one ratchet. Although I think that might, yeah, it's because it's stuck on there. So, wow, right when I said that I normally don't get any luck on it, it actually opened for once. Let's try that again. So, never mind, I ate my words. Jiggler actually works. This took a while. I honestly feel like I could ball rake and single wafer pick this currently faster than I could actually jiggle this. Also doesn't help that I feel like you need to be like completely stiff on this thing. And instead, it's like you are doing this. I also find funny enough that you kind of have to use this like a car key. So the way you do this is you use the handle to give that slight turning, and then you wiggle with it. Like so. But I still feel like I could probably ball rake this faster, half ball rake this faster than actually picking it. And the curious thing that I want to kind of test right now, if I can find it in here in this monstrosity of different shit in here. And it's funny because like right now, this is really based on like when I saw this and how people were using it, and I had people bring this to like the open house lockpicking classes I do at Hack Manhattan and stuff. I quickly developed an opinion about this tool, and I just realized something, and I whoop, and it right now is very much panning out like the exact way I thought of it. And I want to try kind of a fun experiment with this. I don't think I can get both in here though. No, I can't. Hang on. Let's try like my absolute thinnest one. I still don't think I can. Oh, that one's actually can't even fit all the way in because it's the vise is in the way. I have tension like this over here. I think either way I can't. But that actually does work. The vise is in the way over here. Let me try that. Because I want to see if I can use this as like a half ball rake. Yeah. And know how faster that was. So this was the tool we didn't add in that I didn't know if this was a jiggler or not. and I use this more successfully as a ball rake with my thinnest tension wrench than to use the other thing in there. So let's keep going up. What should we do next? Let's do this 570, which I featured on a recent episode. Why is this? That's why there's a black bar. Okay, so this is the one where you normally do top of the keyway tension on. I'm actually going to hand hold this one instead of using the vise. So normally, and here's an interesting part here. Normally what you would do with this guy, in terms of raking, is you would use the triple peak and wave this up and down because it hits the two, because there's a high-low-high pattern. It hits the two, the 3 pins in the middle of the 5 pins, and then you have it open. But because this kit only includes the 4 and 5 bump ones, I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to try. Because I don't think it's going to work. Because it's hitting all the pins at once, but it should be hitting those middle pins. I'm actually trying to use like the tip of it in the middle, and it's not working, and I don't think the 5-pin one will work either. It's kind of funny. So even though in most scenarios the 4 and 5 hump should work, because a 4 and 5 should also be able to open a 3 hump, I don't think it will work in this case because it really needs to hit those middle pins, and it's not happening. So yeah, it's not happening. Let's go and attempt to single pin pick this like we did a couple episodes ago, or the last couple episodes in 2003 was me single pin picking this in multiple ways. I'm going to try top of the keyway tension because it's the easiest method to use on this guy. Oh, we actually had an open, but for some reason it didn't tension correctly. So the 5-pin one, so it did work, especially when I used like the first 3 humps in the front. It was just the tensioning was off, so that's fascinating. First of all, I'm having a hard time fitting this in here, which is really interesting. Itch on my arm. Let me try to get a better view of the action here. God, why am I so itchy all of a sudden? This companion tool is like giving me the clap or some shit like that. Let me reset everything. Let me reset everything. I'm like dying. Man, that hour and a half of trying to assemble this was some. I feel like Covert Instruments should just send me $20 for that literal hour and a half I wasn't able to get back from trying to attempt to assemble this fucking thing. So yeah, just like I thought. Here we go. Finally. So just like I thought. While you can start picking things that I consider as like intermediary to high security. This is retaining, so you have to do that. I, so far, would not recommend this pick set if you're dealing with, like, actual security stuff. And this is beginning of it, because you have, like, high-low highs and stuff going on. And the reason is because they're very short, and because of the shortness and the handle and maybe even the steel, it's really hard to feel around here again. If this, especially because of how fat it is, if this was a notch pick instead of a normal hook, I think this would have a lot better feel to do than what it currently does. So, let's go to some unique things. Let's try, speaking of which, actual security pins. This one has spool pins, and this one has serrated pins. Now, my serrated pin one is a little off because there's that one point where you have to go through the back because of how bad the bitting, unfortunately, was when it was manufactured and shipped to me. So I don't think we'll get to that one, but let's see if we can do. Let's see if we can do the spool pins at least. And it should be interesting because, again, so far, this does not have the best feel, and it also has a hard time going for reach. So I am extremely fascinated to see if this will even attempt to open these spool pins with such a short reach and a hard feel. Oh, did that open it? Did open it. I was able to do it. It was tricky. I had a hard time, particularly in the bit. I started to get to some feel near the end there, which is how it worked, but for the most part, I had a really difficult time trying to feel where everything is here. Like, every single thing I've tested the single pin pick on has felt hard to feel and mushy no matter what lock I tried. So yeah, we did get it open once. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. Let's just fuck around with some serrated, see if there's any difference. And then, even though I have a lot more locks here, I think we're going to do 15. This guy, we have a couple to go. We have like 6 more locks at least to go. And so far, in terms of single pin picking, I can see the use cases for it, but it's definitely not ideal. You can tell it was definitely not designed for it, and it has like a learning curve to it that's really throwing me off. Never mind that it was hard to assemble. There is some good things about it though, and I'm going to get to that at the end and like what I think the use case for is for this. Now that I've actually used one, I can make that opinion. This is where I have to go to the back and hopefully not lose the set. But yeah. Oh God, it's even harder to go through the back than my normal pick. I just lost it. My normal picks. Because it's too short, so I didn't have like a proper handle in order to do it. It was working though. Alright, let's go to something short and sweet. We have a warded lock here. And as we kind of put on with the Covert Companion, I have a ton of. There's an extra one over here, which is the uncommon one. Not you, you're the door latch that we're unfortunately not probably going to use today, even though I can demo visually how it works. Where did you go? I know you're on this side. Installed you. Here it is. We have a bunch of warded lock bypasses. This is the unusual one, the flag one. And then what's more common, because we're going to put this away because we're not going to use it, are these head profiles. Now, again, like I said, when we covered warded bypass, I would even accept warded tryout keys. I hate when they're called warded lockpicks because you're not picking anything. It's not a feel. You are literally bypassing the warding to deal with the actuator. And because of that, it's more obvious that these are bypasses or even tryout keys because they very much emulate the key and that. And on the right here, you can see mine and then the ones on the left. They're very same. It's very hard to kind of screw up these profiles. There's almost virtually, I would say that the ones I have on the right are a bit more rounded than the ones on the left. But otherwise, they're almost, unlike some of the other things like the hook and stuff, these are almost the exact same shapes. And before I actually attempt to open this guy, I want to once again remind, and I'm going to post in chat, that while I do have fun suffering for everyone in terms of locks on this show, I am trying to raise money for hackers. Oh, we had a donation. It went to 85. Thank you for... Holy fuck, who donated? I need to find out... Okay, before the end of the stream, I'm going to click in and find out who donated. But apparently someone donated $10, and I did not notice that. I don't know why it's not rotating from top donation. It should be rotating from top to most recent. But whoever, anonymous. I got anonymous donation for $10. As I blow my nose. Thank you so much, Anonymous or Inani Mouse. I don't know if you were a furry or not, but thank you, Anonymous from Anani Land, for donating the $10. That will help particularly injured and sick kids in Palestine, never mind around the world, for all of the World War III conflicts going on, basically. So let me unceremoniously blow my nose here, semi-off camera. Oh yeah, this is the content you came here for. Me trying to blow out my nose in this dusty room. I really should go in and vacuum this room. I don't live here, so it's everyone's fault, including mine. Just over here. All right, so let's attempt. Remember, I'm going to sanitize this. Let's go in and see which one works. Now, because these are bypasses and that you need a good grip, these should work pretty well. That one didn't grip. Let's try the next one. How these bypasses work, you just have to keep trying them. Now, I will say that as opposed to a key ring, again, it's harder overall to select from here.
All right.
That didn't go. Let's try a different one. Try a thin double-headed one. I'm feeling it might be the thick double-headed one, because if not, we'll compare with my personal set. Yep, there it is. Yep, that opened it. So it was the thin double-headed one. Let's try that again. Because you have this bigger, thicker base, it's way easy to rotate than the ring. So that's one positive. If you're dealing with warded locks, this is definitely your main squeeze. Now, let's skip around a bit. Let's try some more weird shit. Want to get this guy out of the way before I forget about it. Still have the handcuffs. I want to return eventually at some point. Now, there's two different things we can do here. I'm going to use this guy and this guy with the same tool, allegedly. So in here, in this fucking jumbled mess, there should be like a really straight, non-pointed tool in here. I feel like it's like kind of slow and redundant to like completely unfold it and having to fold it back in again. Pretty sure after a while it's like training and it works kind of like a bypass, like it's like a butterfly knife or whatever. So it's supposed to be this flat edge tool here. It's pretty thin. It's not as thin as the decoder, but it's pretty thin. And it's supposed to be able to do two things. You should be able to dedicated shim this Master Lock 175 clone that I have. And it's also supposed to work as a lockpick shim. Now I've tested it before on the handcuffs. I have not tested it yet on here for the bypass. Let's try that first. So third wheel. Insert that in. I normally hold this at the metal, so that's fine. Push the shackle in, move the actuator up, and it opens. That was weird. I felt like I was about to melt this bar, but it actually works. So let's try that again. Let me pull the camera back out a little bit. There we go. Again, third wheel. Slide that in. Below the actuator. I'm going to push that shackle in. I'm going to, hold on, wrong angle. There we go. I'm going to push the shackle in, move that actuator up, and it opens. This is more sturdy, I will say that, especially with the shape. Now, here's the big test that I've had more inconsistencies with. Handcuffs. I'm going to put these on. I'm going to do this so that it is the Windows side up. And now we're going to take this and we're going to attempt to use this as an actual padlock shim, which I think is going to be more difficult because of certain things. So let me actually get out of this. Yeah, I just realized something. Hold on. I should have a key for this in my bypass kit here. Yeah, I do. I have a universal handcuff key. Let's take these off. I'm going to reorient them the other way. So yeah, I always have a handcuff key on me. Not because I'm breaking the law, but just in case I'm at a con and someone just stupidly tries to slap handcuffs on me. Or if I stupidly, like I just did, leave them in another bag. try it this way. Alright, so I think this works better. I'll move the camera over. I have to stand up for this. So, again, I'm going to put this in with the actuator at the angle, and then the goal is you have to push. Now, this is the tricky part. You have to push this in and the shackle at the same time. Yeah, this is tricky because of how big the bottom part of the handle is. Oh, slid in, and it comes out. Now, here's my thing about this. First of all, the handcuff shim on this, it's really good at moving the actuators on 175 clones. But this is way too long on a giant handle. If you are handcuffed, you will notice, you'll be able to feel this in your pocket better, but you'll notice this. And to be honest, I wish it had that tensioning system add-on where I could pull this out of, or a similar but smaller handcuff key. Sorry. Or actually, two things they could do. They could either make this so you can pull this out, a smaller one, so that then you could use it individually more smallly in for the handcuff, or they could go full on out for like $10, just have a replica handcuff key, which they might have, I'm not sure, but having that on here would be, I think, a lot more convenient than doing this, because I want to try something real quick, and hopefully I don't destroy this. I should be able to, just like with other notch decoders, also use the notch decoder to open the 175 in the first place, because that's normally how the bypass works. So even though this feels thinner, I'm going to try that. If I start feeling it melting, I'm going to avoid it like the plague. So we'll go in, push down. I see why. Okay. So this does still work as the bypass. It is actually thinner overall than my normal bypass. So it feels like if you are slightly off and don't know what you're doing, you can easily melt this. So I now understand why they had sort of the dedicated long one. But I still think for handcuffs, it's better to either have a replica handcuff key, a universal handcuff key, or make it so you can detach this and use this, than to have it stuck on the handle here. So it's a good idea. It does work, but just, I'm not sure about the execution, what you feel about a lot of these. Okay, so we have like 3 or so locks left. Speaking of having the notch decoder out, the next thing we're going to do is decode this lockbox, if I'm successful. So I'm not going to do the thing where you pull the wheel chain and do this. We're going to do the tilting method. Okay, so that's one. That's two. God, see, I'm already slightly bending this thing. That's kind of worried about like how many how close this is. Okay, so that's the third one. Now fourth one. Should open it. Yay! This does definitely feel for notch decoding. I am kind of concerned about how thin this is, because by doing the slide leverage, you automatically start just bending this thing. So I would be super careful with the decoding tool in general. But it does work, so that's good to know. So finally, I want to do let's do 3 locks. So master lock 115. Again, some of this stuff here is small and delicate. So I want to see how much abuse I can give to this, because master lock number 15 is heavy duty. You need to have heavy duty control on it in order to make anything work. So first I'm going to just rake it open if I can, because that's just the easiest way I know how to do this. And actually, my theory is that by having, because you need heavy tension for this, it should actually be easier, hang on, to rake this open than normal, because I can just, because I can just put that heavy tension on and just go to town on the rake. I feel like with the other locks, because you're doing that featherweight tension, that you have to do more finesse with, you have to do more like finesse and hard to feel. So the fact this has that heavy tension on it should make this easier, to open in terms of raking. But let's see if the same is true with single pin picking. Oh. Now that the two talky people are, I got real quiet. Who'd have thunk it? Put that in there. Heavy tension. Back to front should do because of how terribly bitted these things are. Still having a more difficult time feeling the pins in here. Not so much this guy, because again I can go full ham, full town on doing this than I would normally. I hope I didn't overset that pin. Dropped anyhow. That's good. So far we haven't had a, and again, it's probably a combination of hard to feel. Again, I wish this was a notch pick because of just how smaller profile this is. And it's also probably a skill issue. Not because I'm stupid, even though I can be. It's more of that using the small pick with this giant handle, and I was told this by instructional videos, you have to basically do a different picking style. This is the first time I'm doing this on camera. So that's a bit of an issue right there. Actually, no, we got the 570 open with single pin picking. So it'd be kind of funny if the intermediate security lock is more susceptible to single pin picking on the Covert Companion than it is, than a Master Lock 15 would be single pin picking it. So that's kind of funny. Yeah, and honestly, with the Covert Companion, any form of like, even like barely paracentric keyway kind of like destroys, has a hard time navigating and feeling in here by default. So I keep feeling like I'm almost open, but in the interest of time and feel, I'm just going to stop that there. So I'm just going to do 2 more locks. I have like 1 or 2 extras. In the beginning, if we were more on time, I was actually going to show off that not only am I able to more successfully rake open these magnums, but I can also now single pin pick open finally this gun lock after figuring out something at the top of the keyway tension. But that's neither here or there. So what we're going to do is this minor security lock called a leader. Sometimes you can rake it open directly, but usually what you have to do is rake it and put in a false set, and then go and single pin pick it, which should be honestly a challenge, because that's why I'm going to deploy both at the same time, because just very simply, it's really hard to, again, pick individual tools out of this. Maybe we'll be lucky to be able to successfully immediately rake this open. I'm already midnight, so I'm definitely going to end this in like the next like 5 to 8 minutes. Let's put in that false set. Let's go around and single pin pick this. God, I really can't feel anything in here. This is annoying as shit. Should be pin 5 and pin 3 that does this. Someone's playing the pipe sound effect. That's funny. The generic pipe drop sound effect that every fucking engineering nerd or Half-Life 2 nerd shares. And the beep. One of the my brain just died. Double wafer jigglers. Nope, that was false. That was fake. That was just my lockpick. That's my turning tool just recentering itself. That was the 4-hump one. Maybe the 5-hump one will do better because this is a 5-pinner. Nope, that's not opening. So the last one I'm going to do, just because I'm morbidly curious, there's so many different tools. And of course, there's so many different tools we didn't even get to. Now I'm going to tell you what my final evaluation and review of the Covert Companion is I have all the way up a club. Covered this about 2 years ago. And this is a double-sided wafer lock. So with some, I think I need the pry bar. Actually, I need the thickest pry bar for this. Thickest one that I have. So the theory is that with some pry bar tension, even though I really should be using the 2 tweezer thing that I have a hard time doing. And, oh wait, I don't need this. I forgot. I can actually put this back. Let me put this back right now before I forget. So the idea is that the double-sided wafer jiggler, because this is a double-sided wafer lock, should work. Should work almost as the key. So again, we put this in, and then I'm going to turn this while jiggling this up and down. Although it feels like it's bigger than the width of what's needed here. Try finding fast today. Let me try it the other way. God, this is shockingly hard to do. Again, this could be a skill issue, but let's go up the cord here. There we go. It feels like if this was slightly thinner, that it would jiggle better. And this is something I can usually like ball rake open in about 2 to 4 seconds, and then like single wafer pick this on both sides with a half ball in about 8 seconds, 8 to 12. So right now this double-sided jiggler is not impressing me. Again, because it also could be a skill issue thing, but I don't know, I feel like it should open by now. So yeah, unfortunately, we're not getting the club open today. So that is the Covert Companion. And to go over it again, just back here. You get a ton of different tools in here. You get a ton of bypasses. You get 2 dedicated picks, long hook and a short hook. You get 2 wicked weaves from Christina Palmer, a sinusoid and syndesoid, so a 4-peak and a 5-peak. 4-peak is spread apart farther than the 5-peak ones close together. You get 2 different auto jigglers, technically 3, but I didn't add that one on. You get 2 sets of good bypasses. You get 5 actually of these comb picks, but you really only need 3. And you get 4, technically 5, but it's really 4, even though I installed it, different wafer locks. Then you get a shank, so you can go and bypass certain types of locks here. Sorry, I'm terrible at keeping this in frame. And you get the door latch, which I have not been able to test yet because we don't really have a... I mean, I could try a door here. Just seeing if this works. I don't think so. Could just be the door as well. Oh, that didn't work on here, but I need to, eventually I'm going to build a challenge wall so we can like properly test like doors. It's going to be a miniature door, but you get a door latch, and that's it for the Covert Companion. Now, what you're probably all here for, besides donating charity, which again, thank you for that anonymous donation of $10, Mr. Anonymous, is my honest opinion about the Covert Companion, because the community has had a lot of different opinions about this, and I'm going to unceremoniously blow my nose off screen and then tell you what I think. So, again, I borrowed this one from SuHacker, which, again, thank you, SuHacker, for donating this to me for this episode. This was a great episode, even though I started terribly late. Thank you so much. Again, I'm going to sanitize this and return it to you. It's all completely assembled, perfectly fine. You might want to do some modifications. I put the extra picks and stuff in the original bag. Thank you for that. That's why I credited you in the description. So the issue is, and I've seen this myself, is almost every time I do a public class, there's about 1 to 3 people who have one of these Covert Companions, and that's the only thing they have. And a lot of times, this is also the first ever lockpicking kit or set that they have. And in our lockpicking and a lot of other communities, everyone's always like you'll see a crappy pick design or whatever, and you'll see comments saying, well, at least it's better than the Covert Companion. Or just basically people calling this the basic bitch, the basic Betty. This is like the most popular. This is listening to like pop music sort of thing, just because everyone buys this because everyone's either a fan of Lockpicking Lawyer or McGalley, who are great people. And they're highly skilled, and more power to them. I've heard other great things about their other tools, like their single pin picks and their bypasses individually. So excited. I particularly want to get some of their Dremeled locks where you can see inside of them, the real world locks that they professionally Dremeled. Definitely getting it. But there's a concern that so many people have these as they're like, it's not even just you have them, because I want to eventually have this to keep this around, maybe even different components of this. But a lot of people are getting these as their first lockpicking set ever. And they usually come to my classes in order to finally learn in person how to use these. And there is also a concern, I haven't seen this yet, but there's also a concern that people are buying stuff from Covert Instruments, and because they're mainly buying it because they're fans of Lockpicking Laura McAlley and these other professional lockpickers, that they think that even subconsciously, that by owning something from Covert Instruments, that you are somehow going to get imparted the knowledge and skill set, even by like a fraction of those important pickers. And it's to answer that question, regardless of what I think of this thing or the other stuff that this company makes, it's the same thing as I should actually pose real quick for the where did that go? I should actually pose real quick for the Twitch thing. Actually fan this out, because there's a whole thing where it's like if you don't move for like 12 seconds, it does that as like the preview photo. So let me open this, do a nice fan of the tools like they do in the promo pics. Do this the other way with the fan. Yeah, let's pose. Okay, that was just to get the preview image. But people always ask me about lockpicking tools, and here's what I always say. Go out and get good tools that you can afford. And again, if all you can afford is something that will work but is not the highest quality, go for it. I'm broke too. Hence why this was donated to me by SuHacker, so thank you. But once you get good solid tools that you're comfortable with, that don't bend or break when you use them, then keep picking locks, going to my classes, other people's classes, get-togethers, our lockpicking, belt ranking system, all of that, and pick and pick and pick and pick. Because the only way you get anywhere as good as McNally or Lockpicking Lawyer is practice. It's by constantly picking locks, different locks, all the time. That's how you get that good. You will never, ever, you can get stuff that's easier, higher quality, by ordering something that someone else makes, no matter how much of a genius they are at making them or picking or whatever, is not going to impart you that skill. That's something that you have to develop. But the thing is, it's achievable. We can all do this. Every amazing lockpicker, including Lockpicking Lawyer, started off embarrassingly terrible. It's why we have less egos overall in this community, despite some people. And that's why because I tell people, all the people that I have in my class for the first time who are struggling with Master Lock number 3, struggling with 6-pinners, struggling with their first spool pins, that's me dealing with annoying high security lock pieces of shit that I don't have here. Hell, that was me with that freaking gun lock until recently. So everyone knows what it feels like to get stuck on a lock that never leaves you. It's just now you're getting stuck on more like locks that were impossible are now probable. But the only way you're going to get good is by literally getting good. And you can't just buy Michael Jordan shoes and just start shooting 3-pointers constantly. That is a skill that you develop in the same way that you just have to pick a ton of locks. Owning stuff from Covert Instruments is not going to make you as good as Lockpicking Lawyer and McNally. That's the truth. You will learn if you get their good quality tools or any other quality tools and constantly practice. Especially going out to like my classes, self-show, which I do, by the way, at Hack Manhattan, which is on 37th Street between 6th and 5th Street in New York City, Manhattan, hence the name. Every second and fourth Tuesday. So next Tuesday will be the next one, which, if I remember correctly, that is the 23rd. So next week on Tuesday, I will be teaching it on the 23rd. But let's talk about the Covert Companion. Would I ever recommend a completely new picker this thing? Fuck no. Hell the fuck no. Do not use this as your starting thing. Now that I have one, first of all, this was a pain in the fucking ass to assemble. I know I'm stupid, but even for my stupidness, this was a pain in the ass to assemble. You saw me constantly. Parts are too small. It was just a mess. Second of all, I would say you are not really picking these. You are single pin picking shit with here. Either you're stuck on security pins or this is your last fucking resort. I wouldn't even recommend this for raking. Because again, even though it has a giant handle, you can only get the feedback and the control by holding it this close. The handle does help with the rest of your grip, but you're still using this little bit here. There's also a problem with the rakes that, again, because there are 4 and 5 bumps, getting something that requires 3 bumps, whether it's a special security thing or the smaller keyway, doesn't work. Also, none of these are in 15 thousandths of an inch or 18 thousandths of an inch that are for picking. There's only a bypass. 2 bypass tools that are like that. Oh, sorry. 2 bypass tools that are like that. And that's what I would recommend this one. I would recommend this Covert Companion if A, you're willing to put up its bullshit IKEA assembly process, but more importantly, once you get over that hump, if you want a fuck ton of bypasses, shims, jigglers in one very small profile. So you're not carrying like a ring of the warded locks and then the full size decoder tool, a bunch of handcuff shims. If you want a bunch of bypasses all in a very low profile convenient thing, the starting Covert Companion is good for you. There's actually remember at Hack Manhattan, who her obsession is getting everything down and small. But she's also very realistic. I have never seen her single pin pick or rake with this. It's always been using bypasses to things that she knows she can bypass and decode. So, to recap, this was a pain in the ass to assemble. So be prepared for that if you buy one of these. I highly recommend to not, you are single pin picking or raking as a last resort. These have good bypass stuff that are organized. So if you want a bunch of bypasses in a low profile that you can easily fit in your pocket, not spread out through a giant case, this is a good companion for that. That's your use case. Do not try to avoid single pin picking with this. Try to avoid even raking with this. And whatever the fuck you do, do not buy this as your first set of picks. One, they're going to be insanely difficult to use, and two, you're going to essentially learn how to crawl before you learn how to walk. Sorry, you're going to learn how to walk before you learn how to crawl. I just missed that. You'll learn how to run before you learn how to walk. Your style of using these picks is going to be decimated. You'll actually might even find it easier compared to when you're going to get full-size picks and picking. So I still recommend that when you're starting out, just go get a kickstart from Sparrows, a tuxedo from Sparrows, a base kit from Southward. Covert Instruments, really cheap for like $9 to $12. Comes with a mostly useless clear lock, because we usually use the clear lock that somehow just appeared around here for visible teaching. But they have what's called an F. Actually, let's go to the fucking website. What the fuck am I doing? Hold on.
And
then
a
we'll
bunch
end
of
this
you
in like a
either
minute.
just received or are about to receive your new Covert Companion
Where
kit.
are you?
There are a lot of parts to put together before it can look like this, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you my recommended assembly method and to give you a few tips on usage. But before I start...
Nope. Hold on. Here we go. Oh, went offline for some reason. So let's go to the products. Let's go to lockpicks. Covert Instruments themselves has a bunch of, what I can tell, are really good single pin picks for starters. Yeah, these FNG for $9.50. Now, you're not going to get a case, and it's going to come with a clear lock. That's going to be good if you're a visual-oriented learner, but you should really be picking on like an actual lock. But this set of tools, a really solid hook, and the 5-peak rake with a turning tool that you can use bottom or the top of the keyway tension for $9.50 is a fucking steal. Okay? Let's see what else is on here. Where is this? The Genesis for $28. It's a little bit less than a tuxedo for Sparrows, more expensive than a beginner Southward and or tuxedo, but this setup with the short and medium hooks and the 2 waverangs with 5 different tensioners in a really nice case for $28, also excellent. These are the tools as a beginner that you need to learn, because once you've mastered these tools, if this was my first thing and this was the first episode of this channel and I was doing this for the first time, besides the assembly, which I already cried on, I would be doing even more. I wouldn't be able to get any of these locks on. I'd be able to maybe do the 140 bypass, the bypass for the 175 clone, and ironically enough, maybe the 570 if I kind of knew what I was doing in it. And that's it. That's all I do. I wouldn't have been able to pick open any of the other things. And again, you need to learn how to crawl before you know how to walk, and walk before you know how to run. So even within Covert Instruments, there are better fucking options. So again, is this the worst device ever? No. I think it's really useful in a very specific use case that's more common than you think, which is your experience. You're into bypassing stuff. You're going to bypass things before you pick things, which is what most of us do in the field. And you want a ton of good bypasses in a slim profile, this. In fact, I would even argue, take the single pin picks out, maybe even take the rakes out, just use the bypasses in this.
Get the other extensions, which we'll look at in a second. Add these two there, even though this is a little pricey already. That's what this is good for. Do not attempt to traditionally pick with this, especially high security pins. And whatever the fuck you do, this is not your beginner's lockpicking set. I don't care how many times lockpicking Laura and everyone else uses it. Not a beginner set. Okay, it's not a beginner set. Go get the FNG on here. Get the Genesis. Go to Sparrows. Go to South. Just as long as it's not Amazon, go get single pin picks. Go get Bomb the Keyway tension wrenches. Get a progressive set even. Learn from those. Get your 175s, 140s with full-size picks. Once you know how those full-size picks work, you can do half-size picks like this. You'll be able to understand what you're feeling for in security. You can translation that feel in something this small, this obscure, things like that. So, once again, it's not a beginner set. It's a pain in the ass to build. This is only for if you want a bunch of good bypasses and a slim profile design. All this is used for. I can understand why the lockpicking community is concerned about this because it's so popular, so heavily advertised. If I remember correctly, this is their best-selling tool that they have. And it's probably mostly from beginners because, one, you are not going to become anywhere, even remotely near lockpicking Laura McAlley just by owning one of these. And two, again, this is for someone who's beginning intermediary stuff. This is not for a completely new person. And so I understand why people refer to this as like the basic bitch first one because it's so popular. Everyone has this. And it's that same thing where, you know, just because something's popular, just because someone can down 20 shots of whiskey doesn't mean your body is set or prepared to do that. Everyone is different. And so the fear is that this is outstripping normal lockpicking cases, including the ones from Covert Instruments, which are excellent from what I've heard. Everyone's going to be learning on this, and they're going to be learning the wrong things in the wrong ways. That's what I'm worried about this. So again, I'm not saying don't get this. I'm saying once you've learned basic pin picking, once you've done a couple of bypasses with full-size tools, and you want a ton of bypasses, get the Covert Companion. Maybe $95. I would say $70 just for that. 60, 70. But still, to do that, that's worth it. Hey, for Sway from Kick. It's always rare to get someone from Kick. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. Crunchy peanut butter. But that's it. The last video I'm going to show is one that you got a sneak preview of, which is there are expansions to... what the fuck did I do? There are expansions to this... to this whole thing. Maybe I'm a little tired and we're about to end the stream, but thank you for visiting it. I hope you follow us and I hope you donate to our cause, but I really hope you follow us because we really need the follows on Kick. But there's one last video I want to show, which is a video talking about that one of the good things about this, you know, is because of how we assemble this IKEA style. There is an expansion set for this, so you can keep adding tools. And I just want to show a video that from Covert Instruments itself that has some of those, so that if you do get this as a set of bypasses, here's some really awesome things that you can add to that. So let's watch.
Here is how to assemble your Covert Companion with the commercial door hook, bypass driver, and turning tool expansions. The blueprint for this build, along with others, can be found at covertinstruments.com. For this video, I'll keep a copy on the side of the screen to help you follow along. We're going to start with the turning tool expansion, but first we need to remove the fiber washers and screws that come pre-installed on the handle. We won't be using the keychain loop, but you can set it aside in case you decide to use it later. You may also want to keep...
That's what that is. That's a keychain loop. I thought that was to mount other expansion things. Dear God, there's like no instructions with this. Sorry, I just had to vent my frustration with that. Let's watch the rest of this.
The long screws for your own custom build, but today we're going to be using these short ones that come included in the accessory pouch. Prepare the empty handle by putting the small screws in and set it aside. For the turning tool expansion, install the male bracket first, ensuring that the tab is closest to you. Place the rubber tensioning sleeve and female bracket on next. These are used to secure the turning tools and will fit together when installed correctly. For the crossbar, the notch should be thicker on the left side. Having a threaded post ready will help you hold everything together and make the installation a little easier. Secure the other side and test to make sure that the turning tool bracket moves freely. In the open position, the brackets can be separated to load and unload tools. Keeping in mind the one on top will be most accessible, go ahead and mount the turning tools. To fit correctly, position the long end at the base with the working end facing in. With the turning tool expansion installed, we can go ahead and add the rest of the tools. But first we need to add an extra post on each side. When you add the rest of the tools, there's no right or wrong way to do it, but I find it easier to add everything on one side at a time. This way you can lock it in place and then do the other side. After the traveler's hook and knife tool, we're going to add our first washer. Next, we're going to add the warded pick, starting with the double long, a spacer, the single long, another spacer, the double short with a spacer, the single short with a spacer, the single-sided jiggler with a spacer, and then both of the rakes. These are not separated by a spacer. Next, add a metal washer and one of the commercial door hooks with the notched end facing towards you. To finish this side, we're going to add 2 more metal washers and then grab the handle with the short screw we already prepared to fasten it in place. We'll fine-tune the resistance after we finish the other side. This time we're going to start with a washer and the utility shim immediately followed by the notch decoder before we add our next washer. Next we'll add the comb pick, starting with the 4, the 5, and then the thin 6-tooth comb. For this build, we're leaving out the hockey stick and the thick 6-pin comb. Add the single bump and double-sided jigglers, each followed by a spacer, and then the short and medium hooks without a spacer in between. The bypass tool goes on next with the end facing towards you, followed by a fiber washer, a metal washer, and then the other door hook. In order to properly nest together, the notch on this one should face opposite of the other in the closed position. Add one last metal washer and then secure everything in place with the other screw. Keep in mind, this build is just a starting point. The Covert Companion can be customized however you see fit.
Yeah, that's some of the expansions, and I'm honestly, let's transition to face mode. I'm honestly really, I think the turning tool expansion is genius, as well as like the riv pick, which sounds like would be a better default option to put into one of these for picking. I still have to order one. I'll get one in the future. Than the default ones that come out here. I really think you should just get rid of the short and medium hooks. You should just use a normal short and medium hook. Even the rakes, just get the Christina Palmer Wicked Weaves rakes from Tool or Sparrows or Covert Instruments or any of them and use those. This is good for, again, series of bypasses, low profile, additions, extra turning tools. Great. Do not pick with these. Barely rake with these. This is not your first kit. This is for beginner, the people who are just starting intermediary stuff, or people who have been doing this for a while and they just want a more streamlined thing. Do not get this thinking you're going to become lockpicking lawyer and or McAlley just by using this. Practice and skill. That's my opinion. If I had to give a number rating for this, the build is definitely a set build 4 out of 10. It was just confusing. Even with video guides, it was confusing. They give you way more tools than you need. I'm stupid, but I can still build stuff from instruction. Again, I build IKEA furniture all the time. This was annoying, especially with how small the parts are. And I have tiny, nimble fingers, and it was just a mess. Overall, actual quality materials, I would give it an 8 to a 9. Really solid stuff. Makes me excited to get their full size picks. In terms of overall usefulness, I'm gonna give it a 6 or a 7 depending on what your threat model is. You come across with a lot of things you bypass, you're constantly coming across with Master Lock 140s and locks that are easily bypassable and combination locks. Not handcuffs because it's a bit more difficult. And why would you take a giant fucking thing like this out? Those are good. That's what this is used for. In terms of, again, security locks where you're picking, even loaf stuff where you're picking, that's where I have to dock a bunch of points off because that just, again, I feel like that riv pick that they add probably solves everything with that. But for the base set, which I'm reviewing, no. So I guess the average for this is I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10, maybe a 7. Which, again, considering how popular this is and how hyped this is, I'm not trying to be a hipster being yeah, people think this is cool, but I'm a rebel. And no, you saw me go through this live. This is what I legitimately think. And again, I'm not sponsored by these people or any other company. I'm not sponsored. Sparrows did not pay me to shit on this or anything. This is what I think. By the way, Sparrow's new jackknife thing, for that price, I can't wait to do reviewing stuff so you can see what I'm like. But again, dealing with a lot of bypasses, this is great. You can remove a bunch of different tools. You can get expansion stuff that replace those hooks and rakes. Great. But this is not a lockpicking set, and this will not replace full-size lockpicking tools for you, even though it did for a lockpicking lawyer, because it's based on everyday carry. So again, because of the limited amount of use cases, and it really depends on what you get, and just how frustrating this was to put together, I'm officially, for right now, giving the default Covert Companion you get 6.5 out of 10 if we have to give a number. It's okay. Could be better, especially with default options. I think there's a bunch of things that they do on add-ons that should be defaulted with this as like a complete and total. Like, it really should just be a bypass set that then you can optionally add more advanced like single pin picking and security stuff to, instead of the other way around, in my opinion. But yeah, that's today's episode. Again, thank you, Anonymous, for donating the $10. I want to remind again that yes, even when we're not streaming, we are still raising money for Hackers for Palestine, which is we're raising money for Doctors Without Borders. We're not even done. We're not even anywhere near March when this ends. Like the April 1st, April Fools, this whole thing ends, and we're already made so many progress. So thank you, Anonymous, for donating the $10. We are now $15 away from our halfway across our goal, which is amazing because we've only done a couple of live streams. Again, thank you so much for watching this. Thank you for. It's so cool to finally review a Covert Instruments thing. I can't wait to give this back to SuHacker. It's already pre-assembled beautifully, and of course I'm going to sanitize it because I've been like rubbing it on my ears and shit because I'm dumb and weird. But thank you, SuHacker, for lending this to me. Please click on the link to donate or scan the QR code or whatever. If you are on Twitch, we're going to raid another channel. I don't know who. I have to take a look. It's already like way past midnight. It's probably going to be something weird, but awesome. So I hope to say hi to them. If you're on YouTube, stay around because it's going to go over to Lady Lockpicks and her recent live stream that she had today, which we could have gotten to the live if I was on time, but whatever. And the next live streams, because it's going to be a weird month, so this upcoming Saturday should be a Crypto Barons. Then next Saturday on the 27th is going to be a Crypto Barons. And then on the 28th, we're going to have back-to-back. On the 28th is going to be the next Master of Unlocking, in which we are finally, because we're going to make an announcement on Hack Manhattan, are going to be doing the Lockpicking Lawyer drinking game. You can participate even if you're not into alcohol stuff. We're going to have a bunch of different drinks, and you're going to be welcome to bring your own. And we're going to watch Lockpicking Lawyer, and we're going to be drinking a lot of fluids that we probably should not be drinking. That sounded more gross than it could be. And then I'm going to go over some locks, maybe even teach lockpicking while I'm there. Completely fried out of my mind, even more than I am now. So again, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy anyone who raids. Thank you for this. Thank you, SuHacker, for donating this to me. Thank you for the anonymous person who donated $10 to the stream. Because to me, that means this entire suffering, my hands and sanity, was worth it. And I look forward to reviewing more Covert Instruments stuff, as well as even more crazier new stuff from other companies. I'm looking at you, 3dlockpicks.com, in the future. So again, hope you have a safe day. Thank you for checking us out. Stay tuned for further announcements both on live streams and our resuming meetings in person in either February or March. Hack the Planet, Dirty Jersey represents, and remember, again, just because a popular, cool, awesome person you respect uses a thing, that does not mean that A, it's good or perfect, and B, that doesn't mean you are going to be as good as they are. The key to getting good is practice. The key to getting into any lock is practice. Getting good tools. Get good quality tools that won't break, that feel comfortable in your hand, even if it's this. But get good only works if you put in the time and effort to learn from it, because we all did. And again, if a moron like me 10 years ago could get to this and get decently good at it, anyone can, especially you folks watching at home. Thank you. Enjoy whoever we raid. Enjoy the music. Peace. See you next time. Bye.
My girl is elegant, everything in full control. Your girl got brain damage falling off the stripper pole.